Feels like a special baseball night in America. From Atlanta, we have a World Series rematch from 2021 as the Houston Astros take on the reigning World Series champion Atlanta Braves in Game 2 of a 3-game series. Well, if you're looking for two quality teams, you've got them tonight in Atlanta. Two of the 4 best records in all of Major League Baseball. The Braves sitting in second in the National League East behind the Mets, while the Astros have a commanding lead in the American League West. Inside the broadcast booth, Adam Amin with the Hall of Famer John Smoltz. Ken Rosenthal is with us tonight as well. And naturally, when you have a matchup of two teams that were all the way to the World Series last year, that means there are superstars, and that's certainly the case here tonight. We start with the Atlanta Braves infield.
Hard to believe that I can make the statement that both teams are probably better than last year, and that's the case with the Atlanta Braves. They're deep, and their offense plays. They had a lot of injuries last year to the Braves, but these guys have stepped up big time. Swanson has lived up to that #1 overall pick, and you think about the infield, you can't help but think about an MVP candidate in Mr. Riley. And then, of course, Olsen replaces Freeman. And really, this infield has carried the Atlanta Braves. It's been a magical run that they're on. And again, I think they're better than they were last year. And last year, they won a championship.
Well, 6 RBIs and a 6-2 win last night belong to those 3 for the Atlanta Braves. On the other side for the Astros, Yordan Alvarez has probably made the biggest headline over the course of the year, but he is out tonight. We'll have more on that as the night wears on. There's still a lot of depth to this Houston lineup.
There is. There's a lot of moxie, too. I mean, they have a lot to prove, and they're proving it that they're a great team. And really starts with the third baseman, because he wants to be the best third baseman in all of baseball, and he's proven that he can do that when healthy, leading a lot of categories since July. And here's the guy that everybody is going to get to know. Power, speed combination. Mr. Tucker is one of those players that we'll be talking about for a long time. And oh, by the way, we haven't mentioned Mr. Altuve, who plays a second base. So these teams are ready to make another great run.
We'll get a chance to see Altuve lead things off for the Astros on the other side against Spencer Strider. 4-2, the Atlanta Braves took down the Houston Astros in the World Series last season. They meet once again this weekend in Atlanta. Baseball Night in America comes your way next on Fox.
'21 World Series. That ball is gone! And that's how you start a World Series. Double trouble! Back-to-back, Dansby and Jorge. That is out of the ballpark! Whoa! Is this happening? It is! The Atlanta Braves are world champions!
Red Sox took down the Dodgers in the 2018 World Series, and then they met in a series in 2019. First time that this is the case, that the reigning pennant winners get to square off in a series. 6-2 Atlanta last night. And tonight we'll be meeting number 734, going back to when these two teams were in the National League together. Here's the Astros order: 7th in the major leagues in runs, 3rd in home runs. Jose Altuve, a big reason why they provide so much power up top. Gurriel 2nd. Kyle Tucker takes the spot of Yordan Alvarez in the 3-hole. Bregman, Mancini, Vasquez. Mancini and Vasquez, 2 new additions since the trade deadline. Pena, McCormick, and Myers will round out the lineup tonight. And the Astros will strive to hit the slider of one Spencer Strider. I worked all day for you for that, Johnny. And let's talk about this 23-year-old from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah, the stash, right? This guy is going to come after you. There's some great matchups for tonight's game because it's power versus power. Some good fastball hitting. Houston Astros against Mr. Strider, who's going to have his fastball slider combination, occasional changeup. Very unique style how he goes about it, but he's going to come after you with flame and hope to change the plane with that slider. And the Astros, it's all about, can you get to the fastball off of this guy? Can you pick it up, or does he beat you to the barrel of the bat with 98 to 99 miles an hour?
Part of his arsenal, brought to you by StatCast, powered by Google Cloud. Hot and humid night on a Saturday in Atlanta for Game 2 of this set. Strider to Altuve to get us underway, and a 99-mile-an-hour fastball just misses outside. 81 degrees on this humid night. A lot of rain earlier today, but forecast looks all right. Altuve squares one up, sends it to deep right center field, but playable for Michael Harris, and he's there for out number 1. Robbie Grossman and Ronald Acuna Jr. will flank the youngster Harris in center field tonight. We talked about how good this infield is. Riley, Swanson, and Olsen in particular. The newcomer is Vaughn Grissom. And William Contreras will get the start tonight. Travis d'Arnaud started last night behind the plate for Kyle Wright. One down for Yuli Gurriel, who goes waving at one down low. Nothing and 1 the count.
Well, there you can see already that low fastball has such hop. I know it says 99 to it, but when he has that extra hop, great hitters, you can see they almost look like they're swinging in a swimming pool, and that's going to be the key tonight. Can they be aggressive? If he's on his game, you'll see some fly balls and strikeouts.
Well, that was a pretty well spotted fastball on 0-1. Looks sharp in the early going. Tailed one away. Gurriel did not chase.
You don't see many pitchers start with their foot in that position. That is like makes my knee hurt, but he's in position to drop it down.
And that bat goes flying as Gurriel reached out to try to make contact.
And what that does is simplify his mechanical cue. A lot of pitchers today are not using the windup. They're using a modified stretch. And you can see it throwing the bat. They say throw the bat, barrel the bat at the ball. Well, maybe not literally.
Yep.
But he gets the foul ball. And what Strider's been able to do is stay fairly consistent with this foot action where it's already as if that he's in the stretch, but you see how he's open and he still gives you a windup, but doesn't have to move that foot much.
Comes home with a 1-2 and misses at 100 upstairs on Gurriel. Plenty that is unique about Spencer Strider. The 23-year-old was born in Columbus, Ohio, but went to high school in Knoxville, Tennessee. 4th-round pick in 2020 out of Clemson. This is after he had Tommy John surgery in 2019. Came back in 2020 for the Tigers. Got drafted, and of course most of the 2020 season was canceled due to the pandemic. Still got drafted in the 4th round. And he gets Gurriel waving at one on the off-speed delivery upstairs. 2 up and 2 down here in the 1st. Kyle Tucker will come to the plate, and Ken Rosenthal, this is a spot in the lineup that's typically occupied by Yordan Alvarez, who is out tonight.
He is out, and it was a scary moment for the Astros last night. Alvarez is going through the equivalent of concussion protocols, even though he does not have a concussion. What he is doing is going through his normal routine: exercise bike, weight room, batting cage. The idea is to make sure his symptoms do not recur. Now, the expectation is he will return as the designated hitter tomorrow. But last night, again, a scary moment. After he came off the field, Dusty Baker told us Alvarez was slumped at the bottom of the dugout steps leading to the clubhouse, looking as if he was about to pass out.
He had to leave the game essentially in the middle of an at-bat because of that shortness of breath that Alvarez was dealing with. And Dusty Baker said, I'm not taking any chances here. Took him out. Brought in Mauricio Dubon. Check swing foul. It's 0-2 on Kyle Tucker. And then Dubon proceeded to reach at the wall for a fly ball. Ended up hurting himself. He had to leave the game. Then Jake Myers had to come in. So a lot of shuffling in the outfield for Houston last night.
Well, for Tucker, if you're pitching against him, you cannot beat him down. You can beat him up. Let's see if they go back upstairs with a fastball. There you go.
Beat him with 100. Back-to-back strikeouts to close out. A 1-2-3 first for Spencer Strider, one of the great young strikeout pitchers in baseball. We'll see another one of them for the Astros coming up next. Baseball behind the Dodgers and Yankees. Second most home runs in baseball belong to the Braves. Acuna, Swanson, Riley, Olsen. What a tough top 4 in a lineup. Contreras, Rosario, the youngsters Grissom and Harris, and then Robbie Grossman, a pros pro, in the 9th spot. And they'll take on Christian Javier, who got familiar with this lineup in the World Series last year.
Yeah, you see the record, not indicative of his ERA. He does a nice job with his pitch mix. And listen, if you're going to get him, you got to get him on the first pitch, because that's the highest average against. But he's done fairly well when you think about his 4-seam slider, curveball. Curveball high average against, so he doesn't throw it as much. With 4-seam fastball, he can pitch top to bottom of the zone, and he's going to try to mix it up against this team that really is locked in offensively, as you mentioned.
Acuna will lead things off against Javier and take ball 1.
You know, what's amazing about the offense is Acuna is just now maybe getting into his stride. You know, coming back from that knee injury, he hasn't been locked in, but if he starts taking off in his last month, it's going to be tough for the visitors.
Made his debut in late April, coming back from the knee injury he suffered in Miami last July. Right now he is second on the team in on base percentage. He has been one of the best guys at getting on for a long time, and when he gets on, he steals bases. 2-0, and therefore a strike from Javier. Braves begin this game 4 back of the New York Mets, who have a doubleheader against Philadelphia today, and the Mets won game 1 8-2. Two and 2 on Acuna. Meanwhile, the Astros have been dominant in the American League West, entering action 10.5 clear of Seattle, which is in action right now against Oakland. Justin Verlander watches his fellow starter Javier deal.
And that's the good pitch. That's where he likes to go. And if you can lay off of that, that's 95 kind of quick. And you could see Acuna started to go, but then stopped his swing. Top of the zone fastball is the new way of pitching with the style of hitting that's in the game today, because everyone's trying to launch.
That is Javier's best pitch. It's his best strikeout pitch. And like Verlander, it has a lot of vertical movement on it. A payoff. On the inside corner against Acuna, and he is frozen. Couldn't pull the trigger, and it's 1 away in the first.
Good four-seam backspin. This is what the combination of throwing a ball. I know it says 95 and it's firm, but when you have backspin with a four-seam fastball, it has extra life. And people always say, well, what does that mean? Well, when you play catch with a guy like Javier, the ball gets to you before you catch it. And what I mean by that is you think you're catching it, but it gets to your pocket. That's the late life. That's why I don't care what anyone says about the numbers and the spin rate and all that stuff. When a hitter can't see the ball out of a pitcher's hand and he's tracking a fastball and can't square it up, that pitcher has the gift of four-seam backspin and late life.
Swanson went after the first offering. Going to be a free agent after this season, and he is having a dynamite campaign. Top 5 in Major League Baseball in hits this season. Facing a guy in Javier whom he had success against in the Fall Classic last year. A couple of home runs. A 1-1. Foul back. Right on cue. Our excellent crew shows him to you.
Well, one of the things that Swanson has been doing this year is he is owning the fastball off of pitchers. And you're seeing him take a couple fastballs here and depositing them at the best time in anybody's career in the World Series, getting a home run. And he's not letting fastballs beat him this year.
Went to the off speed that time. That slider tailing away. Swanson, a 3-hit game in the opener, had a 2-run double in the 6th inning last night. He and Riley back to back are one heck of a tandem right now. Their slider.
But he's just seeing the ball better, and he's more locked in. And when you're staying off of those pitches, he could not stay off those pitches. Mechanically, he was in a funk, and I'm sure he was trying to prove to the world there for a long time why he should be revered as one of the best shortstops in the game. Well, they can say that now, and the timing is perfect for the Atlanta Braves and this man's offense.
The best since late May. Breaking ball is lifted in the air to right. Tucker is in on it for out number 2. Astros defensively were the best defense in all of baseball last year. They're very good again this year, but they are dealing with some shuffling. McCormick, Myers, and Tucker are the outfield tonight. Bregman, Pena, Altuve, and Gurriel around the infield, and Christian Vasquez will get the start. Second time that he is catching Christian Javier since coming over from the Boston Red Sox.
And Riley loves the first pitch, so be careful if you're Javier. You got 2 good outs, and you got an MVP candidate at the plate.
His home run last night came on the first pitch, a 3-run shot that got Atlanta on the board.
Now, when you're locked in and you can take a ball down the middle, sinker, and go the other way like a left-handed pull hitter, he has definitely made so much progression. Obviously, they locked him up with a big contract and 2 great years in a row.
1-1.
I know it seems like anyone, when I do these games, like a broken record, but when he can stay off the outside part of the plate and not chase breaking balls away, that's the numbers you're seeing. That's the product of hard work, spring training with Chipper Jones, and doing the work you have to do to get to this elite level. The start of this man's career was not an easy journey. Bounced around, wasn't playing his position. Now he's third base forever.
He had a knee injury early in his career. Struggled in his first postseason a couple of years back, but started to break out last year with an excellent offensive season. And there's some of the aggressiveness. You have two of the best first pitch power hitters in all the baseball tonight, in Riley and Altuve, near the tops of these lineups.
Couldn't get two opposite bodies to do it either.
Much like yourself and myself sitting together tonight. A pair of 1, 2, 3 innings featuring a pair of strikeouts for both Strider and Javier. We're off to the second and scoreless in Atlanta. Cast is sponsored by Allstate, reminding you that baseball season is mayhem. And by Applebee's, help us crush childhood cancer. Turning into an excellent night at Truist Park. On to the second, and Alex Bregman will take one for a ball against Spencer Strider. 1, 2, 3 innings for both Strider and Javier in the first. Bregman to right. Acuna. The light jog towards the warning track for out number 1.
And see, that's another example of a really good fastball hitter in Bregman. He's not aggressive out of the zone, but that fastball beat him. And no, it carried out to right field. The ball does carry, but that's the style of pitching. If Strider's going to give up a lot of solo home runs when he's a little off, but he's going to have a lot of strikeouts and some fly balls.
He's given up 5 home runs all year. All of them have come on the fastball. And you get the sense that a lot of guys end up being a little bit late on those fastballs anytime Strider throws them as Mancini climbs in. Well, Michael Brantley got injured with a shoulder problem earlier this year, and Trey Mancini has come in to help fill that void. There's that fastball that just beats Mancini at 98.
I've always said whenever there's, and you know, we have the highest velocity in the history of the game, right? From the arm. So that's from the arm side of the mound. But if you have a big swing, you're only hitting mistakes. If you're short, compact, velocity's not going to kill you as much as if you're trying to hit the ball to the moon. And that's how you get the misses and the strikeouts with the sliders and the curveballs and spin rate. But if you're short to the ball and you're staying in, no fastball will bother you. But you see how he's thrown it now underneath his barrel of the bat twice. And there you have the starters with the highest average velocity, and Strider is in pretty good company.
Home of the 2-2 on Mancini. That time he switches it up. Got the off speed to get the strikeout. Well, you still have a free chance to win $10,000 of Big Papi's money playing Fox Bet Super 6. You can download the Super 6 app now and enter your 6 picks in the MLB Super 6 Challenge for a free chance to win. I wanted to clear out the promo so you can just enjoy Big Papi handing you money. 2 of the 3 strikeouts have come on the slider, 1 on the fastball so far. Now it's Christian Vasquez. 8 hits in his last 12 at bats. We'll take a fastball close, but the home plate umpire tonight is Jansen Visconti. He did not give him the call. Clint Vondrack at first, crew chief Jim Reynolds at second, and Vic Carapazza at third.
So here's the downside if they ever go to the electronic strike zone. With the velocity being the way it is, we just saw that previous pitch probably would have been called a strike. If you pitch high velocity to the top of the zone, if you think hitting's been difficult now, it's going to be impossible if they call those pitches, especially if you can drop a breaking ball off the height of that fastball. And so that's why the 3 true outcomes in the game, when people want to know why is there more walks, strikeouts, and homers, is because everyone's trying to pitch to the top. And when you make a mistake in the top, you leave it in the middle and it's a home run. And if you make a mistake trying to bury it in, you hit the batter. And so walks go up, strikeouts go up, and homers go up.
There's a 2-1. Would you be in favor of something closer to like a challenge system, perhaps?
No, if they're going to come in with the electronic strike zone, which I think is inevitable down the road, lower the strike zone.
Okay.
That's all. Give the hitters an equal chance, because high velocity is here to stay. I don't think that's going to go away anytime soon. But you can't call that strike at the belt, at the letters, whatever the true rule book strike zone is. It can't do it with the style of hitting that has been taught.
Check swing, appeal down to first. He went around, says Clint Vondrack. And that is yet again back-to-back strikeouts to close out a frame. 4 strikeouts through 6 batters for Strider. Atlanta order here in the second. We're joined by Atlanta manager Brian Snitker. Spencer Strider off to an excellent start tonight. Can you give me a sense of what you've learned about this youngster in this first full year?
Well, it's kind of like, you know what, when he's getting stuff over and hitting with his secondary stuff, he can be really very effective. So it looks like right now he's starting out in that path.
Obviously, this is a World Series rematch. You have a lot of connectivity to the other side, not just on the field, but off the field. Your son Troy is the hitting coach, one of them on the other side for Houston. How's this weekend been for you guys?
It's been great so far. I mean, he got in here Thursday night, and we got to go to one of the grandkids' flag football games, and he's got tomorrow night, Monday night to hang with him. So I'm happy that and they're really happy that Uncle T's back.
We appreciate the time as always.
All right,
thank you. The insight about Strider was quite accurate. That slider has worked very well in the early going for him.
Yeah, if you're going to chase velocity and then he's going to spin velocity, because that's what hitters are trying to do, catch up to the fastball, and you spin a slider right off the same plane, they can't pick that up.
Matt Olson bounces one on a 2-strike offering. A tough play to make, but straight from the glove. Jeremy Pena, who has taken over at short for Carlos Correa this year and has played a fine defensive shortstop, gets the out.
Well, it's almost like they cloned a previous shortstop that they had for the Astros that now is playing for the Minnesota Twins. And you talk about this young man coming on the scene, learning on the job, and that's what he's doing. And he's done a nice job filling the shoes.
Pena built quite well for a shortstop. Moves very quickly, though, very athletic. Has hit a little bit of a wall offensively, but talk to people around the organization. They are very confident in what he'll be able to put together the rest of this season. William Contreras will take a strike from Javier. Career high 9-game hit streak going for William.
To me, every team that wins a championship, you can go back and see this kind of formula. Your great players play great, your good players have good years, and then the unexpected shows up, right? You got to have some unexpected.
Sure.
Young players playing old, vice versa. To me, this is a unbelievable surprise for a young man who maybe wasn't in the plans the way he is now in the plans offensively for the Atlanta Braves. Contreras has been unbelievable.
Had a great start power-wise, and now sitting at 16 home runs this year. He and Travis d'Arnaud have been splitting the catching duties, and Contreras, a first-time All-Star this year, along with his brother Wilson of the Chicago Cubs. Put together excellent campaigns. 1-1.
And to me, he's classic owning the vertical and horizontal part of the strike zone. I always like to use the 1, 2, 3 as the top of the zone, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he's got the 1, 4, 7, 1, 4, 1, 5, 8. And then he's got the 4, 5, 6 covered in the strike zone. You can get him out up and in, up and away, down and in, and down and away right there. But when you've owned that part of the plate, think about how many pitches are going to be there.
Sure.
And that's what a hitter has to do if he's going to have some power and some average, is own that part of the plate.
'25-year-old Javier from the Dominican Republic comes home with a 2-2. Hard hit back up the middle, but Altuve is there. Twist that throw across his body. They let Gurriel scoop it off in at first, and it's 5 up and 5 down. Let's lock in on Christian Javier and see how he manipulates his fastball and his slider.
Well, straight over the top, 4-seam fastball on top of the ball with his fingers, and then he comes out of the same slot with a slider. These are the real good when you see this slow, think about if you're hitting. Good luck recognizing that pitch out of his hand. You know, some hitters have the ability to wait longer and see spin better, but it's really hard to see spin.
Yep.
And when you're having 0.8 or 0.1 seconds to decide whether to hit a ball or not. That's why it's so difficult to hit in the big leagues.
There's Eddie Rosario as Javier sails one.
That's about the only pitch that Eddie Rosario won't swing at. Right. He loves to swing the bat.
Aggressive to say the least, Rosario.
Hey, they were like, hey, this guy's real aggressive. Be careful on the first pitch. All right. Hit that one.
Too far inside. 2-0 on Rosario. 3 of those 4 home runs he has hit this year come against the Mets, including one this weekend, or this week, should say. Braves have won 10 of their last 11, including 3 of 4 against the division rival New York Mets. They beat Jacob deGrom on Thursday. Rosario flares one into right field for the first base runner of the game on either side.
And that's coming off the heels of losing 4 out of 5 when they went into New York. So great bounce back 11 games for the Atlanta Braves as you see Rosario get that foot down and get the barrel of the bat to the ball to get a base hit. I mean, the Atlanta Braves are entering a really, this has been a huge week for them already, and they've got a pretty tough road trip coming up. So they're in the heat of a schedule crunch, and so far so good. They're surviving.
They'll play the final 19 games of their season, all against divisional opponents. 3 more against the Mets in the second to last series of the year. There's Vaughn Grissom. This is where the pocket of youth really shows itself in this Atlanta lineup. This is the 11th career major league game for Grissom, who is the 3rd youngest active player in the big leagues. Number 2 is Wander Franco of Tampa Bay. Number 1 is on deck, Michael Harris II.
Pretty amazing when you think about, okay, injuries happen. You never know when your time's going to be called. His time has been called. Now he's making it tough on the Atlanta Braves to not find a position for him and find playing time. I will say the one trend that's can't stay the same is his hitting. He's hitting 400 behind in the count.
Right. He's behind in the count now.
And when he's been ahead of the count, he hasn't gotten a hit. So, you know, that's a small sample
strange,
size.
yes.
But he's done such a nice job staying in there when it's a pitcher's count, which it currently is at 1-2 right now.
Javier trying to get out of this inning with no damage done. We'll try to keep Rosario close. You mentioned the injuries, specifically at second base. It's been a revolving door for Atlanta, starting with their superstar Ozzie Albies, who suffered a fractured foot during the team's 14-game win streak in the first 2 weeks of June. In the air to left, McCormick ranging back to the track. It's playable, and that'll retire the side. Rosario, the first base runner, he is left stranded, and we played 2 in Atlanta. Would dye their hair blonde and attempt to grow facial hair as a bonding experience before tournaments. And that's how the mustache just kind of became a thing for Spencer. It has stuck and it has spread here in Atlanta, as this youngster has done a fantastic job this year, facing an excellent lineup tonight in the Astros, and Jeremy Pena takes a strike.
Well, he's pounding strikes early, and that's what you got to do against the Astros. And Pena has really struggled below the zone. So if he gets the 2 strikes, you look for pitches down.
Most strikeouts on this roster right now belong to Pena. He's sitting at 99 in this his rookie year. But overall, has done more than serviceable work. He's ahead of the count, 2 balls and a strike. Third round pick out of Maine. He'll take one outside. He's in a high leverage count, 3-1. Originally from the Dominican Republic, moved to Rhode Island at age 9. Waits for a 3-1 and puts it back to Strider. And there's 1 down. 7 up and 7 down against Strider thus far.
That was a little bit too aggressive hitting right there, and he'll learn I mean, that's a 3-1. You've got to think about a kind of a coffee can style middle to middle in where you're going to explode on that pitch. That was a way off the plate and a feeble swing, really, because he hit a pitcher's pitch at 3-1. He'll get better with that as time goes on, and look for him to definitely improve on that area as he matures as a big leaguer.
That'll bring up Chas McCormick in the 8th spot.
Because if you want to hit too badly, you'll swing at those pitches. But if you want to pass on the baton and be disciplined, you'll learn that discipline. You stay off that pitch, like Bregman's and when Brantley was here, and even Tucker.
That has always been, I should say always, but especially this last half decade plus, has been a hallmark for the Astros.
Yep.
Not chasing pitches outside of the zone. Very low chase rate, very low strikeout rate. 1-2 on McCormick.
And let's just set the record straight. I know what people are thinking. Well, yeah, it's you don't chase when you know what's coming. That was a few years ago, and they've proven that they are a quality championship club. So they paid their penance, and definitely is out in the, the laundry was thrown out in the street. But they have shown why they are a great organization now of players that have kind of had to deal with this issue personally and as a team. And I think Dusty Baker cannot get enough credit. He has managed this team, the personalities and everything that's come with it. So that was then. This is now a really, really good team that doesn't have to really deal with that.
McCormick reaches out to send it to right field, and Acuna, he's got the second out of the inning. 8 up and 8 down so far. Last season, when the Astros made the American League Championship Series, they joined the Athletics of Raleigh Fingers and Catfish Hunter and Reggie Jackson of the 70s, and the Braves that you were a part of that every year other than 94, the strike year. They were there year in and year out. What was the biggest thing that you think you took away that was difficult of that 8-year stretch where you guys made it every year?
Well, definitely everyone's gunning for you, especially when you win a championship. We were lucky enough to win one, but you're going to get everybody's best. And one of the things that the Astros similarity have going for them that we had is a consistent pitching staff of starters that you can count on. Now they have 6, and we didn't have 6, but they definitely, along now with Justin Verlander, are one of the best pitching staffs in baseball, and that can cover your injuries, that can cover a lot of things in your ball club, and that's what Dusty Baker has had the luxury of having for most of the year.
Now in his 3rd season, turned 73 in June. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame guaranteed. Signed a 1-year extension last November after the World Series to manage this year. On the outside corner for a strike on Myers, 2-1 on the 9-hitter.
And is that he walked into a beehive. I mean, a huge beehive. But he had managed so many personalities in his previous tenures that was not the biggest challenge he was going to face. I think getting his players to believe that they can do it again, and they have over and over again, and proven that that was an issue they walked out, going to hear from. Yeah, they got a little bit of a break if you consider COVID, not really having the fans on top of them and not really hearing it to the degree. But you got to give them their due. Last year they were a couple games from winning the World Series, and they've been back.
2 pitch, and there is a swing and a miss. Another strikeout. 9 up and 9 down against Strider with 5 Ks the first time through the Houston order. Astros manager Dusty Baker kind enough to join us from the Houston dugout. Dusty, Spencer Strider's looked sharp so far. How do you go about talking to your team about adjustments? How do they go about it?
Well, the first thing we got to do, got to make him get the ball down, which he's done pretty good. But most of the pitches are away. You need base runners because we don't know how he responds, with runners on base with him in the stretch. So hopefully we can get him in the stretch. I mean, guys that throw hard, you can't just let them throw haymakers at you all day long. But it's not going to be easy. I mean, this should be a low-scoring game unless somebody makes an error, walk, or or a homer or something. But it's the first time we've seen him. He has really good stuff. Has an excellent fastball. Good tempo and pace on the on the mound. So perhaps we have to kind of slow him down and change his rhythm, I think.
John in the last inning was praising your guys' consistency these last couple of seasons, in particular since you've been around, and you've been around some of the greatest players and teams in the game. So give me a sense of how do you become a consistent team over a couple of seasons?
Well, you don't get too high when things are going good and too low when things are going bad. And the thing about this team, you could walk in on any given day and you can't tell if we're in an 8-game winning streak or a 6-game losing streak. And that's the thing. You got to have confidence. You got to have that quiet confidence inside. And great pitch by Javier. And it's a daily game, and these guys, go about their business like that. We try to win series and hopefully a sweep. We try to win more than anything the getaway day. The last game of the series, because that's going to determine whether you sweep, win the series, or prevent a sweep. So. It's a big rubber match game today, and then we'll worry about tomorrow when we get there.
We always appreciate the insight. Thanks for taking over the call there for a second, too, pal.
Thank you, guys.
Dusty Baker, the manager of the Houston Astros, kind enough to join us from the dugout. Robbie Grossman takes a strike, and he's right. That was a good pitch on Harris. Jammed him on the inside.
Yeah, and that's another great story for the Atlanta Braves in the year that Harris is having. He get rewarded early in his career. Nice little extension.
Boy, they have locked up a core in Atlanta. General manager Alex Anthopoulos has really made that a point of emphasis to lock up a lot of the young talent that's in that dugout right now. Breaking ball just missed a little bit high. You see Harris just signed the extension this week, $72 million, 8 years, signed along with Riley through 2032. Popped up, chased by Bregman, but that should get out of play, and it will. Down to the field, and Ken Rosenthal.
Those players we just saw on the graphic, they're not all signed to long-term deals, but they are under long-term control, and that's the key here. Now, since March, the Braves have committed $452 million to 3 players. Michael Harris, who we just saw, Matt Olson, and Austin Riley. It sounds like a lot. It is a lot. But this plan is all about long-term sustainability. And what's interesting about these contracts is that they're essentially front-loaded. The Braves are never paying any single player more than $22 million per season.
Robbie Grossman delivers down the right field line, but just, and I mean just, hooked it foul. Still 2-2 on the Braves 9-hitter.
And the one thing, to follow up on what Kenny was talking about is you see this ball just barely go foul. You have to know, you can't blindly do these things. You got to know the makeup of the player. You got to know they're going to develop and want to be the best at their position for that 8 or 9 year deal. And so, some of these are eventually over baseball's tenure not going to work out,
sure,
right? But when you can get a young player to buy in, he's got security. He knows he's going to be here. It's a fun place to play.
Down goes Grossman on strikes, 2 away.
You think it becomes a win-win for everybody. And look, the Atlanta Braves may or may not have been able to do this had they not won a World Series, but this new stadium and this park, and it's filled, and they're going to pack this place pretty much every night. That goes a long way for your fan base, and certainly in a game in a day and age where there's so much movement, right? You see teams trade players all the time, and we're talking superstars. At least for the foreseeable future, you're going to get to know these players for a while.
Back to the top, and Ronald Acuna Jr. I mean, that used to be the case. You'd go look at the box score in the newspaper, and you knew every position from the day before, and you would go to the ballpark, and you pretty much knew, let's say 1 through 8, when you'd have the pitcher going in the lineup as well. You know who was going to be in the lineup, and you got familiarity with your team, with your player that you liked. And for a long time, that wasn't the case, and it still may not be, but right now in Atlanta, that seems to be almost an older way of going about it, in a sense, where you want to have continuity and familiarity. Acuna fouls it back, 1-2.
And there's something to be said for players being hungry, and some would say, well, are they hungry anymore? And the ability to play this game hopefully is longer in this sport than it is any other sport, with the exception of golf. You can play it well into your years, but this young man, ceiling is tremendously high. And then, of course, you see that injury. We've seen what's happened with Tatis and the injuries in his mega contract. And you just hope he can fulfill that contract. So there is a little bit of risk when it comes to, tying somebody up for these kind of years and this kind of money.
Acuna on a very team-friendly deal as it was signed a couple of years back. 2-2 pitch. And Acuna sends it to center field. Myers was playing in, has to trail back to the track, and he's there right near the wall to end the third inning. Between these two pitchers, Strider and Javier, just one base runner through 3. What a night in Atlanta. By Progressive Insurance. Protect the stuff you love with Renters Insurance. And by Jersey Mike's Subs. Be a sub above. The Battery here in Atlanta. Great atmosphere at the ballpark tonight. Near full house. World Series rematch between the Astros and the Braves. Scoreless game. And Justin Verlander, one of the top candidates for American League Cy Young, is with us. Kind enough to join us from the dugout. Justin, obviously 15 wins. It's been a fantastic season for you. I'm sure there are going to be plenty of Ben Verlander tweets going on during this interview, but just give us a sense, for those who haven't had the chance to watch a ton of you, how do you feel day in, start out, that has gotten you to this point? This has been one of the best years of your career.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, I feel good. I put in a lot of hard work to be here, and I didn't really know what to expect. The first 4 or 5 starts of the season were a little bit of a grind. My elbow just hadn't gotten used to pitching at the major league level yet. But then once I got through that, man, it kind of things just settled in, and I feel like I was able to kind of pitch without missing a beat. To be fair, the Astros were, we are so deep in the rotation. When I need a little rest, we're able to do a 6-man rotation or kind of give me a little rest here and there. So that's been able to help a lot as well. So that's been wonderful, and all the guys have been pitching well. So it's been working great.
Well, Justin, you look 25 again, and I just want to know what was it like? What did you gain? What perspective when the game was taken from you for a year and a half? What did you learn, and what was that like?
As you know, you went through this, and it really lined up in my life with the birth of my daughter, and just putting things into perspective. Having the game, something that you love and give so much time and effort to, almost taken away. At the same time, you're given such a blessing with a child, and so it was just a wonderful experience to be able to grow with her those couple years. I think the biggest thing for me is just being able to be in the moment a little bit more and appreciate where I'm at. We are such a one-track mind, I think, as athletes, that you kind of forget to take off the blinders sometimes and really enjoy what's going on around you. You get so stuck in your routine and just trying to be great. So there's been some moments this year where some things I've noticed I'm able to appreciate a little more in the moment. I had a no-hitter going earlier in the year and was able to kind of really mess around with Bregman and just do some things I noticed are a little bit different for me.
Altuve grounds out to start this inning. Justin, I listened to you earlier this week as you were gearing up for a matchup with a very young pitcher that is kind of burgeoning into a star in Dylan Cease when you played the White Sox this week. That was fun to watch. You're watching two very young, very talented pitchers tonight who are locked in, and Strider and Javier. What do you see from them? Kind of toss your analyst hat on and give me a sense of what you're seeing from these two guys tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Strider, I was excited to see him tonight. He looks like he's been really locked in since pitch number 1. We haven't really had many great swings against him. He's got incredible stuff. And, Javi, I've been able to watch all season long, and it's just really incredible to see his growth from the last time I saw him pitch live till this season, and what he's been able to do and learn and grow. And he's just got that invisible fastball. He seems to have a knack of just throwing it and executing it up in the zone, and guys have a really hard time squaring it up. I don't know Strider as well, but I mean, obviously the velo is elite, which makes guys kind of have to cheat a little bit, and then you have a hard time with a slider because of that. So, I love pitching duels, and this looks like this is lined up to be a fun one to watch.
I know you're going to love pitching the next 3 years, but what along the line, what have you done to adjust as you've gotten older? Because I still think, and I say this unapologetically, if you're not a young pitcher that hasn't watched you pitch and how you've transformed 2 generations really, and been able to keep yourself kind of in the same uniform size and everything athletically. What have you learned to do different now, whether it's your workouts or in between or your bullpens?
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just a different person, you know, completely. My routine's completely different. You know, I think the game has changed a lot. You know, the game kind of dictates that you pitch less to contact now. So I notice myself kind of going more to where you can generate some swing and miss as opposed to when I was younger. And then my routine in between, really, I focus more on mobility and kind of like resetting my compensations. You know, you do something one way your entire life, and your body compensates in a lot of ways. I mean, the body's really an amazing thing, but you know, those compensations eventually you can't keep winding yourself up. So you know, you end up getting hurt. So I kind of look at it as kind of resetting the system after my starts and in between, and getting myself as locked in as I can for the next start.
Well, Justin, we really appreciate not only the time but the insight as well. It's always great to hear you talk about the art and the craft of pitching. Look forward to watching you this week again, man.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me.
Justin Verlander having an outstanding season at age 39, AL best ERA, sub-2. And yeah, I got to be there in Chicago this week for Verlander Cease. I know it wasn't the exact duel that everybody wanted, but it was fun to watch his generation, the guy who's transcended, and the young generation of a guy like Dylan
And I
Cease.
tell young pitchers all the time when I get a chance to talk to him, he's a 10-speed bike. Justin Verlander's a 10-speed bike. He has 10 gears that he can go to, and they're not all the same. He hasn't stripped them all yet, right? So he's not just emptying the tank every single pitch. And so to watch him pitch and the artistry of it, that's why I can see him pitching 42, 43 years old, because he knows how to pitch, he knows how to change to the times that he's in, and he's not a max effort all-out guy. And I think people can learn. If you want to pitch 15 years in this league, you can't redline pitch all the time. And I would say that even about Strider.
Sure.
Right? I mean, he's not going to have a 100-mile-an-hour fastball his whole career. So if he can learn to gear it up, gear it down, and be able to save some of those bullets, he'll continue to pitch, you know, at a high level and have a great career.
I mean, Justin Verlander famous for 92 in the first, 95 in the fifth, 98 in the seventh, eighth inning.
And you know, unfortunately, a lot of people think that era might be over.
He might be one of the last bastions of it. Guys like him and Scherzer and DeGrom and.
Right, because what they tell people now is, hey, we've got somebody to come in once you've emptied the bucket, you know, and empty it in the first inning. Show them all. Get it on. Throw with the highest effort you could throw and strike out as many people as you can. Then we'll bring in the next guy to do the same thing.
Well, right now, Strider is in that mode, and he, as Verlander talked about, is locked in. He had another flailing bat from Yuli Gurriel to get a 6th strikeout, and he is trying to finish off a 4th consecutive perfect inning.
Well, what I like about what he's already been able to do, he doesn't do 1-2, 2-2, 3-2 all the time, right? He's getting his strikeouts as early as he can. He's not trying to strike everybody out at the sake of every pitch. And that's going to serve him well, too. And the only other thing that I think the Braves have done a great job not talking about is innings limits. Now, I think personally they're going to have some already preset, but they're not going to. The less you talk about it and fill a guy's head, the better it is.
Sure. You don't want to put that in Strider's head, is what you're saying.
No, let him pitch, and when his time needed for rest, it'll be time needed for rest.
There's another 2-2 to Tucker. A little tapper to the left side with that shift on. Strider trying to be athletic, and for the first time tonight, the Astros able to get to Strider. It wasn't the hardest contact by any means, but it is the first base runner and hit for Houston. It comes to 2 outs in the 4th.
Yeah, a little check swing slash defensive swing, and of course nobody there. That's the one thing, talking to Dusty Baker, people said, I don't think people know how fast he is, how good defensively he works at his game, and like he's got the dual threat of power and speed. And he also said he'd like to get him a little less tightly wound.
Kyle Tucker, he said, has a tendency to kind of, if he gets frustrated, maybe rip a few things up in the back, maybe something gets tossed.
Rearrange the furniture.
Sure. Here's Bregman. And he swings at the first offering, sending it deep to right. Acuna still ranging back, and he's got it at the track. Another excellent inning worked by Strider. The Astros finally get a hit. Swanson, Riley, Olsen, they've been the hot trio for the Braves. They're coming up. Saturday on Fox with Javier and Strider, two of the great young strikeout pitchers in the game, doing what they do best. The tough part of the Atlanta order here against Javier, and he starts Swanson off with a strike. Of course, of all the signings and extensions for the Atlanta Braves, Swanson just opened up that conversation this week in terms of extension talk with the front office. Both teams with just one hit so far through the first 3.5. So 1-1 to Swanson. Inside, down to Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Swanson is represented by the same agency as Freddie Freeman, but this negotiation probably will result more in a long-term marriage than a divorce. At least that's my thought going in. Here's why. Swanson at 28 is 3 years younger than Freeman was entering free agency. He also represents the best option at shortstop for the Braves. They don't have a Jeremy Pena waiting to come up, and they also don't want to pay what it's going to take to get some of the other free agent shortstops, Carlos Correa if he opts out, Trey Turner, even Xander Bogaerts. And one other thing to keep in mind here. Swanson, a local kid, wants to stay. Matt Olson was a local kid, wanted to stay. Austin Riley from Mississippi, the same. Michael Harris, a local kid. The Braves have a geographic advantage, and they're putting it to good use.
Well, Swanson was about to relocate to first base as he thought it was ball 4. A delayed call from Jansen Visconti has run the count full to 3-2.
Yeah, normally you don't get the borderline ball of the bottom of the strike zone, right, when it's 3-0, but or 3-1 now, 3-2 full count.
Payoff pitch coming to the Kennesaw, Georgia native. Grew up a Brave fan, Swanson. That one off the plate, and he is aboard with just the second Atlanta base runner. The leadoff man's aboard for the first time tonight. Just a sampling of some of the other shortstops that could be on the market. Correa signed a 3-year deal but has an opt-out. Bogaerts has an opt-out in Boston as well. It's a premium position, as you know, John, and Swanson is turning himself, as you said, into one of the premium shortstops in the game.
He is, and good for him. I mean, nobody's been under the microscope and been more talked about early on, and didn't even get a chance to play for the team that drafted him #1. Comes back home, maybe not the greatest beginning, but he sure has turned it on in the last couple of years.
As has Austin Riley. This is one of the best left sides of the infield in baseball right now between Riley and Swanson. I heard our buddy Jeff Francoeur talk about last night. You probably look at Devers and Bogaerts in Boston, maybe the only other duo on the left side that really competes with these two offensively. Riley skies one right center. Myers is there. He's got it for out #1. Back to first base goes Swanson, and we go to Jenny Taft in the studio for a game break. What's up, JT? And now 5 consecutive wins in that stretch. Wilson Contreras again involved. And there is William on deck, right on cue.
I think a lot of people are surprised he's still with the Cubs.
Yeah, I think he was surprised for a while. I mean, you saw the emotion from that entire trade deadline week. Every time a game would end, Ian Happ and Wilson Contreras would be embracing, sometimes emotionally in the dugout, the fan ovations all week, and after all that, Wilson Contreras is kind of in the spot that he wanted to be, but he'll have an opportunity at the end of the year to sign a new deal. Runner goes, Swanson takes off, and the pitch is low. Swanson will lift the bag. His 16th stolen base this season for a solid base stealing team in Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta, I mean, they're known for their power, but they've got speed. And if they can just cut down their strikeouts, right, they can, when a pitcher's on their game, they can strike out double digits with the best of them, but they've been able to do that last year at the timing they needed to win a championship. And they'll win a game with their legs, they'll win a game with defense. You just don't want to lose a game with 19 or 20 total strikeouts in a game.
Olsen goes torquing at that delivery.
And here's a guy that the East Coast is getting to know now, because he's been on the West Coast. And unique style. You think you can pound him up in, and you can get the ball up with the where he leaves his hands and where he's looking to hit the ball. He can hit it out over the plate to each part of the park.
Things change for a strike. 2-2 on Matt Olson, who, as Kenny mentioned, a Atlanta native, Parkview High School over in Lilburn, about 30 miles east of where we're at tonight at Truist Park. Used to wear number 21 at his high school for the aforementioned Jeff Francoeur. 2-2 to Olson, is golfed into the air in center.
I mean, believe it or not, he got away with that pitch. That's the pitch that Olson can absolutely crush, and he just missed it from sending this one over the fence. Breaking ball, he gets his foot down and then just comes off. See how the ball is on the top instead of on the bottom of that barrel? That's how you get it popped up, but he knew that was his pitch.
That's now 6 flyouts induced by Christian Javier, and he's got 2 away in the 4th. That'll bring up Contreras with a man at second, the only man at second in this game so far. It is Swanson after the 1-out steal. Now 2 away for the number 1 2-out offense in baseball, the Atlanta Braves. And Contreras goes after the first one. Both of these teams very good 2-strike teams, good hitting teams with 2 outs as well, but the Braves especially this year.
And that's, I mean, that's champions stuff.
Sure.
I mean, that's how you have to win. 2-out RBIs, 2-out runs, and do everything you can to not beat yourself. You know, give teams extra outs. I think one of the greatest transitions of the Houston Astros, they went from dead last in striking out the most offensively to number 1 in 1 year.
Yep. Check swing, but he went around it. Contreras 1-2. Swanson looking to take off on contact with Contreras at the plate. 1-2 delivery. On the ground to the left side. Tough hop, eats up Pena. Looked like he was going to almost have a shot and getting a throw off to first base, but that tough hop allows Contreras to reach first. Swanson is safe at third, and the inning continues for Rosario.
A little too much of the plate on this breaking ball, and you're right, it eats him up, gets the heel of his glove, and see how that ball comes up right on the heel. And once he didn't get it right away, he wasn't going to get Contreras, who runs pretty good for a catcher.
Sure enough, it is an error on Pena. E6, first error of the series for the Astros, and a chance for Rosario, who singled for the first Atlanta hit in the second off Javier.
Careful on this pitch.
Talked about his aggressiveness, but he'll lay off the off-speed pitch away.
Almost impossible to duplicate what he did at the end of the year. He was so hot.
An LCS MVP last year waits for a 1-0. Snap throw down to third behind Swanson, and the sweeping tag by Bregman was late. Vasquez will challenge you from behind the plate. He did a lot of that in Boston.
Yeah, he comes out right here. That's a called play, and it's the timing of when you think the runner is getting a secondary lead pretty aggressive, and you're trying to just catch him sleeping.
You got a left-handed hitter over there, so a free lane to throw down the third base side. A 1-1. Out in front that time. Javier really mixed it up. He's starting to lean on the off speed a little bit more now, and it's 1-2.
Nice tight break. I mean, that was nowhere close. That's when you're a hitter, you're selling out thinking it's another pitch, and the opposite happens.
First real threat of the night, a 1-2. Rosario goes down swinging. Foul tipped into the glove of Vasquez, and Christian Javier works out of the jam in the fourth. Still scoreless to inning number 5. Duel so far through 4 between Strider and Javier and the Astros and the Braves, and we're fortunate enough to be joined by Kyle Wright from the Atlanta Braves dugout. Got the win last night, and Kyle, if I frame it this way, I just want to see your reaction. 15-game winners in Major League Baseball. Tony Gonsolin, Justin Verlander across the way, and you. How does that sound right now?
Yeah, that's a pretty good company, I'd say. Obviously Verlander, I'd say a no doubt Hall of Famer. And then Gonsolin's been incredible this year too. So pretty cool to have my name mentioned with those guys.
How'd you feel last night coming back? You had missed a few games and missed a start with the arm fatigue. How did you feel? You looked very sharp yesterday.
Yeah, I felt great. It was good to kind of get a couple days off and a little extra recovery time, and felt good in that one. And I wanted to go back out for the 7th, but Snit kind of made the smart decision to not push it yet, and hopefully recover good this week and be back to full go. But felt way better, and yeah, I think those couple extra days definitely did me wonders.
Well, I feel like it was yesterday. The World Series was here. Game 4. You're thrust into an impossible situation. And tell me the difference between how you felt then and how you feel now.
I feel really similar to how I did in that moment. It was really weird. I felt super comfortable in that moment, I think, just because I put in a lot of good work to get to where I wanted to be mechanically, and get my confidence to where I wanted it. So to do it in the World Series Game 4 like that, and I feel like it just kind of gave me all the confidence in the world, and it's been fairly easy to carry it over. Obviously, that's the biggest game and biggest stage in our sport. So how could it not give you confidence, I think? So I've just tried to build off that, and so far put together a pretty good year.
And that's what I don't think people understand about this game. It's a game of failure, and you got to be confident even in the moments where you learn the most through failure. And I would ask you, as you've evolved as a pitcher, how much have you established what you think you do well versus what information tells you?
Yeah, I think that was the biggest part of me. I feel like I definitely got away from what I did well. I was throwing fastballs up and using my cutter slider more as my strikeout pitch, and really got away from my sinker and curveball. And it really started in 2020 is when I first wanted to get back to what I did well, and that was when I got option, and I said I'm not using my best pitches, I think, and I was still pretty far from where I wanted to be, but that's kind of when I first started to use my pitches use my strengths. Then I got to 21, and still didn't carry over that well. I had 2 starts in the big leagues, and quite frankly, it was pretty bad in both of them. So kind of hit the reset button, and went back, looked at some old video from college and early pro ball career, and saw what I did well, how I was moving best, and therefore was able to get back to my old mechanics, and then with that through my pitches that I throw the best, which is my sinker, curveball, and then use the changeup and cutter as I need. And I've just gotten a lot of confidence in those pitches, and feel comfortable in throwing them in any count. And yeah, so that's kind of been the big thing for me.
You going to steal this guy's slider at any point? What Strider's doing this evening, his 7th K. How are you feeling watching him right now?
I don't have his fastball, so it's not going to happen. I'll just keep throwing curveballs for now, and maybe one of these days I'll get there, but it's not looking good.
Well, you looked great last night in your return, and the rotation has looked very sharp. We appreciate your time, and best of luck going forward, Kyle. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
For a guy who pitched 6 innings in the big leagues last year and then showed up on the biggest possible stage to pitch the way he did, that is very impressive.
No, it is. And again, everybody wants instant success, right? They draft people and they think, well, it should just come fast. It's not the way it works. I know we're in a get it done world right now, and it's just so unfair to put that kind of expectation on people. And look, Kyle Wright has, and I've said it for 4 years, he has the best stuff combination wise, I think, on the staff, but being able to be connected with it is different than somebody saying you got the best stuff, because he doesn't have Strider's fastball. He doesn't need Strider's fastball.
Sure.
Just like, you know, Strider doesn't have his curveball or Charlie Morton's curveball. And what makes pitching unique is once you learn what you do well, I've said this and had to learn it as a big leaguer, somebody's got the advantage. When that batter steps in the box, it's either the pitcher or the batter. And your goal is to try to figure out how you have the advantage. And if you don't fake it and own part of the plate, own something when you're on the mound. And that's the beauty of why, you know, nobody's ever gone undefeated.
Sure.
And nobody's ever dominated their entire career. You go through peaks and valleys and you learn.
Theo Epstein used to say all the time that progress is never linear, and we want it so badly to be. As human beings, you say, well, I did this, so cumulatively the next thing should come very easily. That's almost never the case, especially in sports, especially with athletes developing. In the air to right, Pena well struck. Back to the track goes Acuna to the wall, and it is gone. Finally, a team strikes. It's the Astros first in the 5th, and it's Pena with his 16th career home run. 1-0 Astros.
And see, that's going to happen from time to time. Pena used the velocity of Strider, did not try to pull the ball, and got the ball to carry just over the wall. This is a fastball that kind of leaks in the middle. You see the swing, and that power from that young man was generated by the power of Strider.
So as we talked about, Strider's now given up 6 home runs. All of them have been on the fastball, and a lot of them have kind of played out like that. He generates the power, and you just have to be on time enough, and that seemingly was the case for Pena.
And you know what? The old adage, although who was it that proved it wrong? Somebody hit 7 solo home runs and lost in a game, which is unheard of. But solo home runs usually do not beat you.
That was Tungsten Armo Doyle and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim
right.
this year. That has been a dubious note in a season of dubious notes for the Angels this year. That was against Oakland earlier this year.
And that's the key. I mean, you're going to give up home runs in the big leagues. You just don't want them to be 3-run homers, grand slams. You just want them to be solos if you can.
2-0-2 Chas McCormick is fouled back. Down to the field and Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Jose Altuve told me in spring training that he thought Jeremy Pena was going to be a superstar. It wasn't just his physical ability. It was the fact that he cared so much, wanted to be the best. Now, for 2 months, it looked like Altuve's prediction was coming true immediately. But, of course, the regression came as it was normally going to come for a player who had played only 30 games above A-ball entering this season. The good news is, with Pena, despite the error tonight, he remains one of the top-rated defensive shortstops, according to the advanced metrics. He has been everything the Astros could have hoped for.
Second in the American League in defensive runs saved among shortstops. Makes up for the error earlier in the game, which ended up Javier not harming him in that frame. He got out of the jam, and he comes up and strokes a home run to right to get Houston on the board. 3-2 on McCormick.
I mean, when you're facing this kind of horsepower out of Strider, I mean, you better be short and quick to the ball.
Yep.
You're not gonna have a big swing and run into unless he leaves a slider or breaking ball over the middle of the plate. So, look, you're going to have to. There's not a lot of adjusting of style of hittings. It's just one way style of hitting, and so if a pitcher's on, he's going to have his way. If he's not, the hitters are going to have their way.
And Strider loses McCormick here. He got behind early in the count, worked back to even, but it's a 2-out walk. So this 2-out rally from the bottom of the order. The 7-hitter Pena the home run, and the 8-hitter McCormick reaches on the walk. Look at these two teams on this list. The Braves mark is a historically good mark when they score first, and the Astros aren't too far behind. This also speaks volumes about the starting staffs and maybe more so the bullpens for these two teams, how good they've been.
Yeah, the Mets have incurred some injuries, so we'll see how that goes moving forward. But yeah, you always want to be that team that scores first, right? I mean, it's hard to have a ton of comeback wins all the time and use that as a formula, but you know, the Atlanta Braves have established themselves in a rotation that can handle getting the lead.
Here's Myers, the 9-hitter. One Astro reached base in the first 15 batters. Now it's back-to-back that have gotten aboard. Obviously the home run by Pena, now the walk by McCormick, and Myers ahead of the count against Strider. Both teams have gone to 6-man rotations at various points. Atlanta did it on its last road trip we talked with Kyle Wright. He had to step out with some arm fatigue. They've used 11 different starters this year, have the Braves. Jake Odorizzi, who came over in the trade from Houston as part of the rotation. Max Fried just came back, had a really good start against Jacob deGrom and the Mets on Thursday. Charlie Morton is slated to finish off this series for Atlanta tomorrow. 2-0 to Myers. It's high, 3-0.
He's gotten out of rhythm a little bit, and he's probably talking about the grip because looks like he's a guy who sweats a lot. I think I heard him say, or read his lips saying, can't hold the ball.
Yep.
So go down there and get the rosin, try to do whatever you can on a humid night, and a guy that basically is, you know, he strikes out a lot, which means your pitch total is going to be up high and harder to go deeper in the game. But we've already addressed that's not the importance anymore with the arms that each club has to come out of the pen.
Myers just takes 4 pitches. He has a second consecutive walk issued by Strider. So the bottom of the order does it. Pena the home run, McCormick and Myers with back-to-back walks, and it'll turn over to Altuve. Well, enjoy the show wherever you are with the MLB app. Coverage of in-game highlights, pitch-by-pitch features, which I have up right now, select live broadcast coverage, and more. You won't miss a beat. You can download the MLB app today. But Altuve 0 for 2 will come to the plate with 2 men aboard.
Well, he's lost a little bit of the feel, and it's a good meeting at the mine right here because there's a couple things you're going to remind yourself. Don't just try to throw a strike to this guy.
Yeah.
You may not have to. You may not get it back.
He'll jump on the first pitch.
You know, this would be a good time to mix it in and throw a slider on the first pitch. He's missing with his fastball, and you know, in this inning, it's going to be 24 pitches already this inning, and so after the homer, which you think just kind of shocked the system a little bit, looked like a fly ball. That's the hardest part about pitching. Fly ball, that's an out, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
Just kept on carrying.
So I would call right here a slider on this pitch to one of the most aggressive and feared first pitch hitters in the league.
First one to Altuve, and sure enough, went with the slider, and Altuve went after it. Fouls it for strike 1.
You can definitely tell he's having issues really with sweat and gripping that ball. So that was a good slider that he threw right there on the first pitch. Maybe that'll reset the clock for him.
Good stop sliding by Contreras. Count even at a ball and a strike. We said it earlier, there was a significant amount of rain earlier today, just as it often is the case here in Atlanta. Big shower. The humidity has been very high tonight. And that sweat glistening on the arms of Spencer Strider. Great play by Contreras. One to Altuve. This guy down the left field line will get out of play foul.
He has such whip when he pitches. You could see in that replay that we showed, he slaps his backside with his hand, right? In the follow through, because he really comes through the pitch. You can see how he comes through, and then watch that hand, boom, right on that left side of his body, all to generate that power.
Started the season as a long reliever. First 11 appearances this year, all in relief. Went multiple innings several times. Has been in the starting rotation since late May. Trying to get out of a jam. And he does by fanning Altuve. A key strikeout by Strider to get out of the frame, but not before Jeremy Pena shows off that power, the strength, taking the fastball out to right to put the Astros on top halfway through. Game, just 3 hits combined. One of them the solo home run by Jeremy Pena to stake Christian Javier to the first lead on either side tonight. bottom of the Atlanta order due up here in the 5th against Javier. Vaughn Grissom leads it off and takes a strike. Much like Spencer Strider for Atlanta, Javier, kind of same mix. He started with 3 relief appearances this year. Became a full-time starter in late April as part of the 6-man rotation. This is a Houston rotation that has only featured 7 starters all year.
Yeah.
The guy who's not part of the rotation now is now in the other dugout. That's Jake Odorizzi.
Well, they've gone in a different direction, and I think it's worked philosophically. And what I mean by that, they don't have just flamethrowers. They have pitchers. They have guys who change speeds, change eye levels, spin, change the direction of the ball. And I tell you what, it has paid off well, and there's consistency in that. Now, fortunately, they've stayed healthy.
Yep.
And a big part of that is because they repeat their mechanics.
You've always talked about that. I've heard you talk about that several times. Being a repeater is a good thing. Yep. When you find the groove of how your body works in sync with what you throw.
And I love the fact that they all use a unique windup too.
Sure.
And this is a guy right here. He just kind of lulls you to sleep. Everything's easy about his windup, and then all of a sudden, pretty good arm action at the end. He gets a little bit of a boom.
Dusty Baker loves going to the 6-man rotation whenever possible. They may actually cut down a little bit in the next few weeks because there's a bunch of off days. I think it's 4 off days in a 19-day stretch. So they may start piggybacking a couple of these guys to make sure that they stay in a rhythm of sorts.
Yeah, and I'll give him credit. It's not an easy thing to do. I mean, a 6-man rotation, especially for a guy like Justin Verlander, now he's getting older, but you want to be in rhythm, and the best way to be in rhythm is every 5 days.
Sure.
I thought it was before us, it was every 4 days.
Sure.
So I give them credit for doing it, and you know, obviously it's paying off in their record and their performance.
Javier and Urquidy and Garcia, they could be guys who end up piggybacking. Grissom unloads on one, sending it deep to left field. Back and gone. How about the youth movement in Atlanta tonight? Pena for Houston. Now it's Grissom for Atlanta. 1-1 in the 5th.
Well, another 2-strike hit for this young man that is absolutely impressing everybody here and showing he belongs. 3-2 pitch that leaks back over the plate. See how he got his hands right to the barrel of the bat that allowed him to keep it fair, pull the ball down the line.
That was a great piece of hitting by the youngster Grissom, who has his 3rd career big league home run. Nasty slider from Javier gets Harris to swing through.
You don't think he's having a good time?
Isn't that what Brian Snitker told us?
Yep.
This guy just loves the game, and you can tell on his face when he is out playing the game, and this being just his 11th in the big leagues. Ball and a strike on Harris. Ken?
Watching Vaughn Grissom, you might wonder, how the heck did this guy last until the 11th round in 2019? Well, teams believed he was headed to Florida Atlantic University, but Braves scouting director Dana Brown viewed him as a 3rd or 4th round talent, comparable to a player he once drafted in the 3rd round for the Nationals Expos franchise, Ian Desmond. Now, when Grissom was in high school, most scouts who came to see him at Haggerty High School in Florida were there to see Riley Green, who went with the 5th overall pick to the Tigers in that draft. But Brown, in his report on Grissom, wrote, "I will be sick if we don't take this player." The Braves did take him. They gave him a $347,500 bonus. That was well above the soft cap that year. Well worth the money.
Had a home run in his debut at the big league level at Boston. Cleared the Green Monster. Had one last Saturday at Miami, and for the first time, the home fans get to see a home run in person from the 21-year-old. 1-2 to Harris, and he continues to stay alive.
I mean, just seeing the look on his face is like my grandson when I give him ice cream, right? It's like this guy is excited to play, and he definitely wants to stay, even though he knows, right? how much longer will he play second base? You got Albies coming back, but
that's right.
They're gonna find time for him.
He's forcing the hand essentially of this organization. Harris fouls another one away. 3 in a row now. Ozzie Albies has ramped up his baseball activities. He's taken some swings. He's taken some grounders. They're hoping to have him back. He will be on the next road trip traveling with the team to Pittsburgh and then eventually St. Louis. But Vaughn Grissom is trying to carve out his niche, and it's only an 11-game sample, but it's a pretty good one so far. Harris pops it up foul. He'll stay alive yet again with 2 strikes. Back to Ken.
Now, one more point on Grissom. I said earlier that the Braves don't have a Jeremy Pena to replace Dansby Swanson if he leaves as a free agent. Grissom's original position is shortstop. It's just not clear he's going to end up there. At the same time, where does he end up? Albies is signed long-term, Riley's signed long-term, and if Dansby comes back, well, they've got a nice problem.
And between him and Harris, these guys are trying to lock themselves in. And again, doing it because of injuries. Adam Duvall got hurt earlier this year. He's been on the shelf for a long time. Albies has been hurt. Harris goes down though on a breaking ball. Good pitch by Javier. Jenny Taps in the studio. She's got a game break for us. What you got, JT? Twice the age of Grissom and many times the amount of home runs. He is closing in on the treasured mark of 700, and if he keeps at this pace, he might get it by the end of this season.
Yeah, it's been an amazing run, not only by the Cardinals of late, but just Pujols coming back and swan song season, and man, was he dominant.
Yeah.
It's just, you just don't understand until you stand on the mound and have to face a guy that looks like he's sitting in a rocking chair about to take your head off because he's so comfortable at the plate. Those first 10 years in St. Louis, it's unmatched.
You can put him up with any stretch in Major League history. Kenny Pujols continues to play well. The Cardinals are 17-7 since the All-Star break.
A couple of weeks ago, I asked him, hey, Albert, you're playing so well. In this role, you're thriving. Might you reconsider? Might you come back for another year? He said, no chance. I'm a man of my word. This is it.
Well, it could be leading to a division title in his final season as they have overtaken Milwaukee. Milwaukee lost in extra innings to the Cubs today, so a chance to go 5 up on the Brewers for the Cardinals if they win tonight. Way out in front, Grossman. He goes down swinging on another breaking ball. Well, tomorrow you'll get a chance to at least get a sense, a taste of what's to come for 2 teams that are going to feature electric quarterbacks during the season. Lamar Jackson's Ravens and Kyler Murray's Arizona Cardinals. That's our preseason matchup at 8 Eastern tomorrow on Fox. You can check it out on the Fox Sports app as well, our preseason showcase. Looking forward to hearing Kevin, Greg, Tom, and Aaron and company tomorrow. Back to the top at Acuna. After a first pitch breaking ball and fouls it away. He's 0 for 2 tonight.
Michael Harris, a little bit from the left side, has a similar style to approach to hitting. And for Acuna, he can do this for a while as long as he's young, but you got to be pretty strong to have your hands right there and then be able to have the timing and the strength. There's not much pushback. He just kind of rocks back and lets it fly. And tremendous power and tremendous extension off the bat when he's hot.
The breaking ball again. The breaking ball has been sharp for Javier. This is how his year has chronologically split. His best stretch over the last 2.5 weeks. Checks his swing. Appeal down to first. No swing, says Vondrack. 1-2.
He's had moments too where he's gone where that shift where there's no second baseman because they've got him played all to pull. Pick his spots and he'll serve one that way and then use his legs to turn it into a double by stealing second.
More ground balls this season for Acuna than any other year in his young career. Man, that breaking ball looked very sharp, whether it was the curve or the slider. Gets all 3 strikeouts in that inning on the breaking ball, but all 3 came after the hands of Vaughn Grissom came in close and pulled it down the line. 1-1 on a couple of solo bombs. To the 6th we go. Yuli Gurriel leads off the Houston 6th against Spencer Strider. Both teams with a run, both teams with 2 hits. Both runs in this game coming from the number 7 hitters in the lineups. Jeremy Pena for Houston, a solo shot in the top, and Vaughn Grissom a solo shot in the bottom of the 5th inning. 1-1 on Gurriel, who has struck out twice swinging on the slider from Strider, who has fanned 8. Javier has fanned 7.
Hard to do against this man. He's second best hitting with 2 strikes and doesn't do that a lot.
Yeah.
So he's not picking up the ball out of Strider's hand with that breaking ball. And that's one of the few times you're going to see him swing that badly at a pitch out of the zone.
1-2. Gurriel connects left center field, but playable for Grossman. He's over for out number 1. Well, pick your favorite defensive moment in the Greatest Play Ever sweepstakes presented by Pixel Vault for a chance to win tickets to a 2022 regular season game of your choice. Restrictions apply. You can see rules and vote by scanning the QR on your screen or at MLB.com/bracket. Today, that's Ozzie Smith doing it against the Braves. Robs Jeff Burrows with that great barehanded play. And then against the Astros, Gary Matthews Jr., one of the great home run robberies of all time, took one away 16 Julys ago against Mike Lamb.
That's unbelievable. He took a divot out of the wall to go way up there to rob that home run.
Kyle Tucker fouls one at the plate.
Can I just say, and I know every ballpark's unique, right? And
sure.
I love that about baseball.
Yeah.
But I've been on, people want it, you can see that divot was taken by somebody doing the same thing. I want to see fences that are robbable.
Okay, I see what you're saying. You want to make sure that a guy can leap into the air
Yes.
and take one back.
For sure.
It's one of the most dramatic plays in sports.
Now you got 2 clubs and 2 fields that are annexed in history-wise, Cubs and Fenway.
Sure.
So you can't do anything about that. But I mean, we got to have. It's one of the most exciting plays there is, right?
Sure.
And you got some newer stadiums where I understand from the fan standpoint, you don't want them reaching over and touching the foul ball. But robbing a home run is as good as it gets.
I was thinking about that during the All-Star game. We were showing all those memories, and Torrey Hunter going up and taking one away from Barry Bonds. Right. Mookie Betts has done that. I mean, 2 years ago, you were there in Texas for Cody Bellinger against the Padres. One of the great playoff plays I can remember in recent history as Olsen and Tucker collide there, former AL West foes.
I know I drove my manager a little crazy because I shagged batting practice for my cardio. So I ran all batting practice trying to catch fly balls.
Sure.
That's how I stayed in shape. My theory was just when you get tired chasing a ball, you keep running.
Yeah.
But if you got to run, it just doesn't work.
It's very, as a man who hates running, it's very easy for me to just be like, I'm good.
But
Let me stop
I
here.
loved robbing home runs.
Yes. Who was the one that you remember like during BP? Like I'm glad I got you, Terry Pendleton or whatever.
I got Andrew Jones. And
that's a good one.
I was screaming when I did it.
2-2 pitch, and Tucker lifts one into right. Acuna towards the gap, racing over, and he's there for out number 2.
And I tell you, I mean, to be able to do it as long as I did, I had so much fun. That was one of the most fun parts of my day.
Sure.
When you're pitching once every 5 days, right? It can get mundane. So I'd have fun with all my players. A few more push-ups, get in the weight room. And there was a lot of parks where you could rob the home runs. I didn't wall hug, meaning I didn't stick around the wall.
No, you were trying to go back and then make a play for it. Run back to the wall and try to make the play for it.
One of my favorite baseball cards is I got a card robbing a home run. They just got the picture at the right time.
Oh, that's great.
So anyways, I say all that just because the uniqueness of our stadiums, I just wish we had more fences that were
conducive to it.
Conducive to robbing. Maybe a ledge on the taller ones to get on a ledge to get over the taller wall.
That's a good one, though. Andrew Jones, who I think still has the single season Atlanta home run record, right, in 2005. He probably saved a couple of home runs for you, too.
He sure did.
2 balls and a strike on Bregman. A new father, Alex Bregman. We were talking with Justin Verlander earlier. The perspective that it gave Verlander. Alex Bregman and his wife just had their first child. And as it often seems to be the case, I saw with Mike Trout when he became a father and went off on a ridiculous streak. That's what Alex Bregman's August has been like as he knocks another single. This one with 2 outs. And he continues his excellent month. Ken Rosenthal right after his family just had their first child.
That's right, Adam. His wife, Reagan, gave birth to their first child, a boy, as you said, on August 1st. Just August 1st, Knox Samuel Reagan. Now, Alex returned the next day after Reagan told him to go back to work. And as you mentioned, he's been red hot ever since. Now, here's the key, and it goes back to what Verlander was saying about perspective. Astros bench coach Joe Espada, he thinks that Bregman is benefiting from the new addition to his family. Bregman now knows to leave the game at the ballpark, and he returns with his mind fresh the next day. I ran this by Bregman before the game. He said that is absolutely the case, and it's not that he's slacking any. His new teammate Trey Mancini says of his pregame preparation, I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it.
I hear this from athletes all the time as they get older and they have families, they have their first children in particular. I hear this so often as you see Joe Espada, who managed a few games when Dusty Baker was out with COVID a couple of weeks back. Zach Levine, I work in Chicago. He's a player for the Chicago Bulls. His wife is currently pregnant, and he talked already about how his perspective has shifted. He goes for his workouts in the offseason. He's training hard for the season. But when he gets home, it is about wife and, for him right now, future baby.
Yeah. Well, baseball, obviously, almost half the year you're gone.
Yeah.
So when you get back home, you hope you can be home.
Yeah. Be where your feet are. 0-2 pitch to Mancini. No swing. 1-2 the count.
You can see Mancini's trying to generate more with his body and see him just barely keep the bat back. I mean, if you're going to attempt to go after a pitch like that, you're telling the pitcher, I can't see what you're throwing.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't pick it up. And so on this 1-2 count, there would be no reason to not try to throw that same pitch.
Sure.
Just a little bit more over the plate.
Test Mancini's hand-eye coordination, see if he can pick it up. A 1-2.
See, he didn't make that pitch. So now that's a waste pitch because now it resets the hitter a little bit. He's seen that pitch way out over the plate. The only way you get him to swing after getting a check swing like that is to have that pitch cover the plate, even if it's down. And he didn't even give him a chance to offer at that.
Strider trying to finish off the 6th after reaching the 100-pitch plus mark. 2-2 delivery on the way. And he gets Mancini. Another strikeout, his 9th of the night. Just 1 run allowed through 6 innings of work by Strider. Javier has kept the pace. It's a 1-1 game as we head to the bottom of the 6th on Baseball Night in America. Keep up with the show wherever you are. You can follow at MLB on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube so you don't miss a thing in 2022. A lot of handshakes and pats on the back for another excellent Spencer Strider start.
Yeah, sure did. He was really in command with the exception of 3 hitters. He lost a little bit of his fastball after giving up the home run, but rallied nicely. And
Christian Javier back to work. Dansby Swanson bounces one to Bregman for the first out.
And the big difference that you're seeing between the style of pitchers is that, look, he had to throw a lot of pitches because you strike out a lot of hitters. And Therefore, the starts are going to be a little bit shorter for those kind of guys. The one pitch out right there, Greg Maddux used to say, is better than a strikeout.
That's a gift.
It is.
Kirby Yates loosening up in the Atlanta pen for the 7th. There's Austin Riley, who will take a strike. That's the first one pitch out of the night. That Swanson bouncer. Riley 0 for 2 tonight. Strikeout on a slider and a flyout.
Isn't it amazing? We talked about, we mentioned the best record since what, June for the Atlanta Braves.
Right.
The stretches and the streaks and the way the seasons, the ebb and flows. How do you think people are feeling over in New York right now with the Yankees having an unbelievable year? They did drop another game and in a rough stretch right now for the New York Yankees.
They are now 9-20 since the All-Star break, and today was about as fired up as I've seen Aaron Boone all season.
Yeah.
He was very adamant in the postgame that they're going to turn this around. He believes they can. This a day after he heard boos.
Yeah.
And was like, all right, I understand. I can respect it.
But I like what Dusty Baker said. You wouldn't know if you walked in our clubhouse if we won 8 in a row or lost 8 in a row. And that's a easy thing to say. It's hard to live out. And he's been able to get his team to buy into that. And same thing for Brian Snitker. I mean, he's been around forever for the Atlanta Braves. He's seen Bobby Cox deal with adversity, deal with ups and downs, and never really deviated.
Yep. 2-2 pitch to Riley. In on the hands and fouled away. Remember, it was Javier who started off the combined no-hitter back in June against the New York Yankees. Neris and Presley finished it off, and Javier had 13 strikeouts that performance. The next start he came out and struck out 14. One of the best 2-start strikeout stretches in Major League history. 2-2 to Riley again. Went upstairs that time. No swing, says Clint Vondrack, and it's 3-2.
He's done a great job tonight staying out of the middle of the strike zone. He goes up, down, in and out. And that's the art of pitching. And if you can make one pitch look 2 or 3 different pitches with the same pitch, and that's what he does with his fastball. That's why he's got high strikeout total games.
Yep. Riley lifts one to the right side. And it'll get out of play. Javier, his last start was Sunday against Oakland. He was excellent. 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs. 63 of his 97 pitches went for strikes. The 5 starts before that, and a couple of good ones mixed in, but he was 0-5 with a 4.40 ERA. A nice bounce back stretch for the 25-year-old. Made 3 relief appearances in the World Series last year. Took the loss in Game 4 in this ballpark. And then pitched in the Braves clincher in Game 6 in Houston. Another payoff pitch to Austin Riley coming. And it's in on the hands again. You talked about it. Not much over the middle leaking right now for Javier.
Yeah, and look, for Riley and for pitchers that are trying to get Riley out, you've got to establish in at some point. Because if he can reach the outside part of the plate, he's so strong that he can go to every area of this ballpark.
A battle here. The 100th pitch of the night and the 9th of this at bat is lifted in the air to right. Racing over is Tucker. Just a little bit of room and won't be able to make the play. That would have been a spectacular one, and he made it. But this plate appearance extends to 10.
Well, you got the screen and the netting that prevented this ball from being caught. 3-2 count. He's fouled off some fastballs. I mean, normally you would say you stay with the fastball because he's not catching up, but this would be a situation where if he threw a good slider in the outside part of the plate after that pitch, he might get Riley to extend and expand the zone.
Pitch number 10 is a breaking ball hit behind the bag at second for Altuve. That battle goes the way of Javier. And speaking of battles, how about the pitchers duel we had tonight? Strider and Javier, 2 of the great young pitchers in the game.
Kind of expected it. Both pitchers have the ability to limit contact, and that's exactly what they did. And they did it in different ways. One with a high velocity, and don't give me wrong. I mean, Javier's velocity is nothing to sneeze at, but his ability to manipulate the baseball, change speeds, and do this to the Atlanta Braves hitters. And there you see 16 strikeouts between the two of them.
5 straight retired after the Grissom game-tying home run. And here is Olson. Again, 2 of the great strikeout, not just 2 of the great young pitchers, but 2 of the great strikeout pitchers in the game today. Double-digit strikeout performances multiple times for both of these young men. Olson takes a strike. He is now 2 for 15 lifetime against Javier. Of course, as we mentioned, these two saw each other a lot in the AL West, but the 2 hits that Olson has are both home runs.
He has not made a mistake to Olson, and that's what you have to do. He's been down out of the stone, and he's backdoored the breaking ball when he's needed to get a strike. He really could go upstairs if he wants with a fastball, but he's been so good with that breaking ball.
He's got options here. Go with an elevated fastball, 2-2.
And the key to that pitch, and you got to practice it, and I'm sure they do. You've got to make it look, you can throw that pitch over the middle of the zone and it's more enticing to the hitter, but when it's up and away, it's just, it's already spotted as no chance. But over the middle of the plate and up, tough to lay off of it.
There he goes off speed and gets another strikeout. Boy, this has been really fun to watch. 9 Ks for Strider, 8 for Javier. A 1-1 game through 6 in Atlanta. Strider and Javier, what we like to term a pitcher's duel. The lone offense in this game from 2 young burgeoning stars on solo shots. Jeremy Pena and Vaughn Grissom both going deep. And a 1-1 game. Into the late innings we go, and into the bullpens we go now after Strider goes 6. Now it's Kirby Yates on for the 5th time this season. Pitched in the New York series earlier this week. Coming back from Tommy John surgery he had last March. He'll face Christian Vasquez to lead things off. And he'll miss a little bit high to the Houston catcher. Pretty simple mix. Fastball changeup pitcher out there now.
Yeah, he throws that split slash changeup and the lower 3/4 delivery and release point. And he has kind of worked his way back. He was pretty nasty before his surgery, and he's trying to get back to that level, and the Braves took a chance, rehabbed him, and now they're hoping to benefit from it.
There's a 1-0. Loads up and Vasquez swings through. 1-1 the count. Yates went 724 days between major league regular season outings.
It's a long time.
Long time.
I mean, there's no guarantees anymore, but the one injury and the one surgery that you could make an argument is one of the greatest career-saving surgeries, Tommy John. And I'm sure every doctor would tell you they wish they weren't performing as many as they are, because I think too many are actually like, well, let's just get it because you're better. That's not the case. So you can see stories of guys coming back, putting in the work. And look, there is a highly probable success rate for guys who have had Tommy John surgery in the majors to return back to the majors.
Right.
Where it gets a little skewed is when you have Tommy John at 12 and 14 and in single A and double A. Those numbers aren't as great getting to the big leagues. So everybody who's sitting at home and a parent thinks, well, you know, my son's had Tommy John at 13 and he'll go on to be awesome, is not really a guarantee. It's a good chance you'll return to the level you were at. And we see so many people come back from Tommy John surgeries in the big leagues. We think that's universal all over the place.
I think think the term muscle memory applies accurately and aptly in this case.
Yeah, and the definite thing about what, Justin Verlander, think how many years of pitching he had under his belt before he went through it. If you've had it at a young age and you really haven't experienced the big leagues, you don't know what that's going to be like when you come back. So hopefully we don't keep talking about Tommy John surgeries, but there has been a lot of good cases of people coming back and resuming their careers.
2-2 pitch from Yates to Vasquez is grounded to third. Austin Riley gobbles it up for out number 1. Well, the biggest sporting event on the planet is returning to Fox Sports, and for the first time ever, it's taking place over the holiday season. The FIFA World Cup, live from Qatar, starting November the 20th on Fox and FS1. And do not forget that coming up on Thanksgiving weekend, one of the greatest sporting weekends maybe in American history, USA and England will square off as part of what will be a massive weekend on Fox. Jeremy Pena, responsible for the lone Houston run tonight on a solo shot in the 5th. Climbs in against Yates. Goes after the first offering.
Well, fastball that you could say he swung late. I just say he stayed on it. And you stay on it, you use the power of Strider, just clearing the wall. Those are the worst, by the way, for a pitcher. You'd rather give up a 30-row home run than a wall scraper, but nonetheless here that wall's a lot taller, so not a cheapie.
You see those numbers. This counts game 6, the clincher that the Braves won in shutout fashion. They allowed just 2 runs last night and just 1 tonight, including the Pena home run. 31 strikeouts from a low strikeout team. That's how good the Braves pitching staff has looked. Braves staff, of course, leads Major League Baseball in strikeouts. 1-1. Bunt shown that time from Pena. The corner is playing deep. Started to crash. It's 2-1.
Well, I've always said about baseball and the timing of getting 3 pitchers hot, 3 bullpen guys hot, and 3 guys in your lineup hot. That's kind of the simple formula. Well, the Braves got 3 guys in their bullpen so hot at the right time that it rode them to the World Series championship, no doubt.
And one of them right now is in the opposite bullpen, Will Smith.
That's right.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Pena. Smith and Odorizzi were dealt for one another earlier this year. It was fun listening to Brian Snitker talk about it, and even more so Will Smith talk about it. He knew that there were some pressure-packed moments that had some palpitations of the heart going around the ballpark, but when it counted the most, 6 for 6 during the playoffs last year when they needed it. Pena goes down swinging, 2 away in the 7th. Jenny Taft has a game break for us. This is going to sound very similar to the last one, Jay. What a wonder. What an impressive stretch for Albert Pujols. Another multi-home run game and another step closer to 700. Here's McCormick to the right side for a good defender in Olsen. Yates covering, hustling is McCormick. He's got speed, but Yates goes 1-2-3 in the 7th. It is stretch time in Atlanta. Vaughn Grissom with a solo shot will bat 3rd in the last of the 7th for the Braves. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Geico. Save even more when you handle home and car insurance. And by PNC Bank. See how we can make a difference. A great game, great pitcher's duel, great night in Atlanta. Great performances by the starters, neither of whom will factor into the decision tonight, Strider and Javier. Kirby Yates pitched the top of the 7th, 1-2-3. It'll be Brian Abreu, a career-high 37th appearance this season for the 25-year-old from the Dominican Republic. 9 straight scoreless appearances for Abreu. He'll deal with William Contreras to lead it off.
Well, Abreu not lacking velocity. He's got 97 plus. He's got that really sharp breaking slider you just saw right there. Curveball and a changeup.
heavy fastball slider and can mix in a couple. On the ground to third. Bregman is there. He'll retire Contreras on 2 pitches. Well, we talked about what's coming up for Fox Sports. Big Noon Saturday is back. The #1 most watched regular season window in college football. And Gus and Joel and our buddy Jenny in studio, they're all going to get you set with #1 Alabama and Texas coming up in 3 Saturdays. You can start every Saturday with Big Noon kickoff, followed by the day's best matchup all season long on Fox.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get a lot of people here, thrilled about that game in Bulldog Nation.
There's Eddie Rosario. Now you do have some Alabama natives who migrate over to Atlanta, but in this general area, it's always been very Bulldog heavy.
Banner year for the state of Georgia last year when it came to the Braves and the Dogs.
Shift is on for the left-handed hitting Rosario, who has 1 hit tonight. Got 1 of the 5 combined hits in this game. We got the 2 solo home runs. Rosario had a 2nd inning single. That's the only other Atlanta hit. Kyle Tucker had an infield single in the 4th that was clocked off the bat at 43 miles an hour. And Bregman had that seeing eye single in the 6th. That is it. That is the offense tonight in this game. 1-1. Foul back. Another quality start from a Houston starter. Both starters obviously had quality starts, but that's been a trend for the Astros. 72 quality starts. That's 6 innings plus and 3 runs or less allowed by the starter, and that was the case for Javier tonight.
It's trainable, but do you have the mindset to do it? And what I mean by that is the Astros have created a mindset where mechanically they're pretty sound, unique to themselves. Their bullpen's going to be fresher when it gets to the end of the year, and they're going to be in the position they're in because of their starters.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't take rocket science to know that if your starters are going 6-7 innings every game, it's almost impossible to have a bad year.
Bouncer back to the mound. Nice extension by Abreu for out number 2. That'll bring up Vaughn Grissom, part of this baby Braves boom. Spencer Strider started tonight. He rocketed through the minor league system last year before pitching a couple of times in October. Michael Harris barely touched good old Mississippi. And the same for Vaughn Grissom. They never even saw Gwinnett. They went straight to Atlanta. Barely even touched it in the Southern League, and all of a sudden here they are at the big league level and producing in an early part of their careers. Rookie of the month for Strider in June, Harris in July. We'll see if Grissom maybe has a shot at it here in August. With a stroke like that, maybe he's got a shot. That was hard hit past the diving Altuve. Grissom with a big turnaround first, but he'll hold on for a 2-out single. That ball gets away, but he will stay at first base. And the go-ahead run is aboard with 2 outs in the 7th for Atlanta.
And again, I know this seems simple, but this approach on squaring up the ball and staying inside the ball, not trying to lift everything, hit rockets, and he's well above his age so far in ability to handle pitches of velocity, spin, with 2 strikes. Now, trust me, the fraternity of pitchers will make adjustments.
Of course.
And then it'll be up to him to close some doors that they've opened and vice versa. So, a guy comes on the scene, you try to figure him out from a collective scouting point, and you're just looking for other pitchers to open up some doors of success.
And here is Harris. You said it, a rocket for Grissom. That was the 2nd hardest hit ball of his 11-game major league career.
See, this is what Harris does is similar to what Acuna does. Watch how his hands are over the plate. And you would think he'd be more susceptible to swing and miss in a lower average, but he's been able to stay on the ball with 2 strikes. He's got that unique batting style.
Snap throw to first. Big lead by Grissom and a close play. Vasquez again challenges a corner runner. Did it to Swanson back in the 4th and does it here against Grissom in the 7th.
Throws a little bit up, but swipe tag. And so you're just trying, you're kind of guessing as a first baseman. You're just trying to get the glove before the bag so that the hand runs into the glove.
That's something that Dusty Baker talked to us about. Gurriel does that exceptionally well. When Carlos Correa was here, he was very good at that, kind of just letting the ball travel and allowing the glove to cut off the bag for either a base stealer or, let's say, a guy stretching a single into a double or on a pickoff play.
And a huge play last night that got overturned because that wasn't done by Pena.
It was Harris that ended up with a double last night. He was originally ruled out to lead off the 6th inning. And then after the challenge by Brian Snitker, it was ruled that Harris got in time because of a play that you're describing, exactly that glove work. And that was an inning where Atlanta added 3 key runs in a 6-2 win. Chance to finish this frame with no damage for Abreu. There's some back in. He is 2 for 2 in his young career stealing bases. That single, by the way, 105.8 for Grissom. Second hardest ball hit so far of the 15 major league hits he has. He's got 2 of the 3 knocks tonight for Atlanta. Harris pulled to Altuve, and that'll retire the side. The #1 bullpen in Major League Baseball belongs to the Astros. Abreu leaves a man stranded in the 7th. We remain tied to the 8th at 1 apiece. The largest selection of authentic caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. It's all available to you at MLBshop.com. Lefty out of the pen for the Braves is A.J. Minter. He'll face Jake Myers to lead off the Houston 8th. A.J. Minter has been rock solid out of the pen.
Yeah, he's pretty good strikeout to walk ratio.
No kidding. 67 in 54 appearances this year for Minter. It is now 8 consecutive scoreless outings. He had a rough close to the month of July. He has been near untouchable in the month of August. 1 hit, no runs in 8 appearances this month.
Yeah, it's not exactly a good comp, but I always felt like if you watched Craig Kimbrell in a mirror, you might get Minter, right? You get the opposite kind of action, the way he throws. And certainly, again, for the Atlanta Braves to kind of reshuffle their bullpen, add some pieces at the trade deadline. The National League is going to be so much fun to watch come postseason time.
I was thinking the same thing, buddy. So even the way Minter bends at the waist, it's not the unique Kimbrel stance, but just the way he bends down.
Yep, and the action.
And the action of the arm. 2-2 on Myers. Kenley Jansen has pitched each of the last 2 nights against the Mets and did pitch in a non-save situation last night in the opener of this series, so he's essentially down. Brian Snitker has options, including Raisel Iglesias in the back end of the bullpen. Minter setting it up in the 8th. Obviously, it's a 1-1 game right now. Still a non-safe spot. 2-2 down to Ken.
Well, that was the obvious motivation, Adam, of what the Braves did at the deadline. They wanted to bring greater balance to their bullpen. Traded another one of their left-handers, Will Smith, brought in the righty Iglesias. So now they have a right-handed setup man, Iglesias, a left-handed setup man, Minter, and of course, Iglesias, an accomplished closer, can fill that role on days like today when Kenley Jansen is unavailable.
2-2 to Myers is fouled back. There are 3 left-handers available in the Atlanta pen. You look at the Houston pen, the aforementioned Smith is the only lefty that they have available out of the pen. Altuve and Gurriel to follow. Then Kyle Tucker, the lone lefty in the lineup, after if anybody gets on. Rafael Montero loosening for Houston. Off the end of the bat for Myers. Down the line. Olsen and Acuna both chasing. And they will softly collide as the ball hits the deck.
Now, this is one you just hope you don't get any kind of collisions between two important players, especially the size of Olsen running into a tree trunk.
Those are two strong cats right there, man.
See if you bury a cutter slash slider after trying to paint the outside part of that plate.
2-2.
You tried it.
Yep.
You just got to get that one more inside, because I'll tell you what, Myers done a nice job staying on the ball, fouling off pitchers' pitches, trying to coax a hanging pitch in the middle of the zone that he can do something with.
He's fouled away 4 straight 2-strike pitches. Another 2-2 is down and away to run it full.
See, when you get this part of the ball game and you're coming in out of the pen, your strengths are your strengths, but you never want to get beat on something you're not really good at. Like, you could live with Myers hitting the ball if he's going to hit a home run to the right side of the field, which would be rare. What you can't live with is getting beat inside on a pitch that's hanging in the zone.
Here comes a payoff. 6 pitches out of the 10 in this plate appearance have been fouled away by Myers. He has struck out and walked tonight. You got a walk from McCormick in the 8 spot. You got the home run from Pena in the 7 hole. Payoff off the fist. What a battle here for Myers. One of the longest at bats of his young major league career.
The hard part right here is the hand comes off the bat right there as he's swinging. You don't see that very often. Hard part here is, in theory, you don't have to throw him a strike if you make a great breaking ball pitch down and in, because you know he wants to swing, but then you're also in the back of your mind don't want to walk the leadoff hitter in a tie game. So it comes down to the execution of pitches on a 3-2 count.
The 12th of this plate appearance is lifted to center. Harris has it for out number 1. One away here in the 8th. Jenny Taft is in the studio for a game break. Man, I'm just thinking about Will Smith versus Will Smith again in those Braves-Dodgers matchups. A 3-run home run in 2020.
Well, you know what Altuve's thinking.
First pitch.
Lift, clean, separate. Because he lets it go. He is not cheated on his swings.
Right after it. Saw it coming there, buddy, as did everybody in this ballpark, maybe all 42,000 plus.
Yeah, he walks up to the plate with a game plan, and that's a great changeup first pitch. I mean, he does not get cheated.
Now bunt from Altuve, and he missed on it. 0-2. Don't see that too often either.
Swing from his heels and then try to sneak attack him with a bunt.
Just like that, Minter has a chance to put Altuve away. A 1-1 game in the 8th. Bases empty and 1 out. And an 0-2 pitch is waved on and foul tipped. The fireworks went off because everybody thought that Altuve was done. He just barely got a piece, and Contreras just could not hang on.
Yeah, there's that tight slider down and in. I tell you what, Altuve is so good at, though. You can make him look like that and try to throw another one and have him 3 inches up, and he rakes it.
Yep.
This is the one you bounce again. You go right back after him and you try to bounce it. They're going to go away.
And he got him swinging.
Now that pitch right there, Minter hadn't had that pitch. He was primarily, everything he threw was hard. When he came up and started commanding this changeup, for a hard throwing lefty, there's no way that a right-handed hitter can stay back and see that pitch for what it is, especially with that angle. That is an outstanding pitch. And still an equalizer in the game of baseball.
So 2 down for Yuli Gurriel. 0 for 7 in this series with 3 strikeouts. That after he came into the set with a 7-game hit streak going.
Yeah, uncharacteristically low average, and a guy who's a high contact, go the other way, cannot shift him.
Reaches out, pokes it into shallow center. Swanson and Grissom are out. Grissom's got it. It's 6 up and 6 down from the Atlanta bullpen. And here come the Braves in the bottom of the 8th in a 1-1 game. Podcast is sponsored by Hyundai. It's your journey. And by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. 3 hits apiece, 1 run apiece on solo home runs from Jeremy Pena of the Astros and Vaughn Grissom of the Braves. To the bottom of the 8th we go. 9-1-2 for Atlanta due up. And it'll be the right-hander Rafael Montero who is on for Houston. He's had a couple of rough outings as of late, but did pitch in the White Sox series on Thursday and struck out 2 in a scoreless inning. His strikeout numbers have been very good this year.
Fastball, slider, changeup.
Heavy fastball.
Yeah, for a little guy, he can rush it up there.
Robbie Grossman leads it off in the 9 hole and takes a ball. Typically soft contact against Montero. That's when you can tell he's at his best. He's behind 2-0 on Grossman, who has fanned twice tonight. Former Houston Astro Robbie Grossman obviously came over at the deadline from Detroit. Three seasons with Houston for Robbie Grossman, 190 games, and he was not the player that he is now at that point. He really, you want to talk about a development project, this 32-year-old has developed into a pro hitter.
Yeah, he sure has, and now both sides of the plate starting to pick it up a little bit offensively.
And he'll take a 4-pitch walk. Boy, Montero's control not there, and the leadoff man and go-ahead run is aboard in the 8th for Atlanta. Well, don't forget, tomorrow, 8 Eastern, we've got Ravens and Cardinals, and that means you got a free chance to win $10,000 of Terry Bradshaw's money playing Fox Bet Super 6. You can download the Super 6 app, enter your 6 picks in the NFL preseason contest for a chance to win 10 grand. And, of course, Terry is very surprised and scared that you are going to be taking his money.
Well, Dusty Baker's pretty surprised that his pitcher just walked the 9th hitter, and now the meat of the order for the Atlanta Braves. This is going to be tough sledding, Montero.
It's not bases empty, 1 out, like you wanted to face Acuna. It is 1 on, nobody out. Acuna's 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts looking against Javier. But it's 5 straight out of the zone, out of the gate from Montero.
And this is the thing. Well, it's been a well-pitched game, right? 1-1, 3 hits. And the more guys you bring into a game, on average, on a daily basis, the less likelihood that each one of those guys are going to have their best stuff that night. And that's why it's so difficult to have 5 and 6 pitchers pitch in a game per team on a nightly basis. It just eventually catches up. Somebody's not going to be sharp.
Finally a strike from Montero. Acuna from Venezuela. We've had a very heavy Dominican Republic showing tonight, in particular from Santo Domingo, one of the hotbeds of baseball. Rafael Montero, a Dominican native. Tosses in a strike, so back to back.
Acuna has been caught now in a couple at bats being in between, whether guessing a little bit or not. This would be, if you went up there with the mindset, you could stay on the ball, go up the middle to right center. It's right there for you. But I know he's wanting to end this or put 2 on the board with 1 swing.
A 1-2.
Because what that does, I mean, the defense is basically telling you how you're going to get pitched, and basically you know how he's going to hit the ball. If he hits it on the ground, primarily it's going to be the pull side.
Yep.
And you know, it's a tough double play to turn anyways because of his speed, so you don't really have a traditional. You'd have to have Altuve go catch the ball at a different angle. They're not going to turn 2 on a ground ball to the left side, but they're also not going to get you out if you hit a ground ball to the right side.
2-2 pitch is upstairs, not too far off the plate, but it does run the count full. You know Acuna can spray it if he gets it in the air.
Yeah.
Very obvious, as we just showed you. If he pulls it on the ground, it is going to be or if he hits it on the ground, more than likely it's going to be pulled.
Well, let's see if Snit trusts him with a 3-2 count to send Grossman and get the runner in motion here.
Vasquez, as we mentioned, pretty good defensively behind the plate, pretty good at cutting runners down. Runner goes, fouled back. So indeed, Grossman was in motion that time, trusting Acuna with the bat with the runner in motion.
The interesting thing here with it, normally if it was a traditional defense and the runner is running, the defense has to protect the bag. Well, Altuve is not at second base. He's actually right behind the bag, so that's not going to be the issue. The reason you're getting him to run is you want to be able to get him at second base on a ground ball without getting the force out at second.
And if somehow it goes towards the gap in right center,
right,
maybe that's a lead for Atlanta. Runner goes again, and this time it's pulled on the ground, foul. Boy, this is the chess match right now. 3-2 the count. Montero came in with rough control. A runner changes the stratagem now. The shift changes that further, and the way Acuna handles the bat even further more.
Right.
This is the art of the game we love. Grossman at 4-pitch walk to begin this 8th against Montero. The 8th pitch of this plate appearance to Acuna coming. Runner goes again, and it's inside. Back-to-back walks to start the 8th for Montero, and the go-ahead run is in scoring position for Atlanta. And now you get into the hottest part of the Braves order.
Yeah, it's a tough pitch to make. He's looking for a free strike 3 call on the inside part of the plate. I would have thought his chances would have been better on a breaking ball 3-2 and get Acuna aggressive to swing outside the zone. The only thing he's trying to do is freeze them, and then maybe they can throw out the runner. And Acuna, to his credit, did not flinch with 2 strikes. And Swanson is the guy you want up there right now. Other than Riley, those 2 guys with runners in scoring position or a big contact play are the guys for the Atlanta Braves.
Visit from Josh Miller, the new pitching coach.
because this is the 8th, I mean, I would think the strategy might stay the same because of these 2 hitters. But in the 9th, you would have maybe a different appetite to maybe want to bunt it over or put a kind of play on to kind of create some action.
Swanson went after the first one.
But being that it's the 8th and you can break it open, that's going to be all swinging here for Brian Snitker and the Braves.
And you got cushion, right? You got a chance with Swanson, a chance with Riley, and likely a chance with Olsen as well, unless a double play gets hit. One and one the count on Dansby Swanson. Ryan Stanek loosening up now behind Montero in the Houston bullpen. Stanek hasn't pitched since Wednesday. You said it, the last few games Montero's had some issues. A lot of traffic. He's got 2 aboard with nobody out here. And Swanson a little bit late on that fastball at 98. 1-2 the count.
Yeah, he opened up real quick. That front hip opened up, and the fastball just beats him to the top of the zone. And now he's going to have to shorten up just a little bit. Not that you're in protect mode, but he chokes up on the bat, and you're going to want to definitely have an action ball if you can. You know, believe it or not, there's been some philosophy in the game over the last couple of years. I'd rather strike out than hit a ground ball in this situation. I don't understand that, but that's typically what they would teach is, okay, ground ball here is 2 outs, strikeout is 1 out. So the consistency of lifting the ball, trying to get the ball in the outfield is what a lot of teams would teach hitters, especially with traffic on.
It's the cost benefit that they're trying to figure out. Good job by Swanson. He was down 1-2, and now he's run the count full.
But the counterpoint is a great take on the last 2 pitches is you can put a lot of pressure on defense with contact.
That's
you can't
right.
put any pressure on defense with swings and misses and strikeouts.
You force a defense to have to make the play. 2 on, nobody out. A 1-1 game in the 8th and a fantastically pitched game. A payoff to Swanson is popped up. Short left. Pena out. McCormick in. It'll be Pena for out number 1. And both Acuna and Grossman retreat.
Well, it's a game-saving pitch so far to this point. It was a 3-2 slider that absolutely off the end of the bat. You could see one of the rare off-balance swings for Swanson. Really good 3-2 pitch. I mean, that was a pitch he was decided that it was either going to be bases loaded, nobody out, or I get an out or I get a ground ball.
Well, now it's Austin Riley, who's had an MVP caliber season for Atlanta this year.
I'm telling you, if Riley thinks right center with this fastball or even slider, it's going to be a lead.
And he got the fastball. Yep.
But you can see just pulled open a little bit, trying to leak that hip.
I mean, he hit that home run yesterday on a first pitch that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not a cheap shot either to right center field.
And I think that kind of style pitching, 2-seamer, led him to be able to do that. This is a 4-seam fastball pitcher.
This one lifted foul down the right field line. Quickly 0-2 on Riley.
So in game, I thought what I saw yesterday after those hits was an intention to pitch him in. He got hit by a pitch.
That's right.
And I think the game plan today so far has been, okay, young man, you are having an unbelievable season. We're going to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, or try to hit that ball in, because you are owning the middle to away part of the plate against us early in the series.
0-2 pitch. Stayed away.
And see, that to me is a wasted pitch. Fastball in, breaking ball way off the plate. There's no way Riley is going to be able to swing at that big a gap, right? And so does it reset him a little bit? We'll see where he goes with this 1-2 pitch, but it's way too far off the plate after you've buried a fastball in.
The time goes back to the fastball in.
And the reason I loved learning from like Greg Maddux, why waste a pitch? If you're not even, if it's not going to be a competitive pitch and you're just not wanting to give up a hit 0-2.
Two important numbers in Atlanta history right there. Montero trying to find it. First two men reached. He got Swanson to pop out. Now a 1-2 to Riley. On the ground to short. Pena. Altuve to first. Inning over. Montero gets out of a huge jam. And this game is still tied at 1 to the 9th.
Woo, what a good pitch and a big double play.
Muscles out of it does Montero. Rafael Montero struggling with his control, gets the ground ball from Riley to get the twin killing to close out the bottom of the 8th inning. To the 9th we go. A.J. Minter remains in the game. Went 1-2-3 in the 8th, but the lone lefty in the Houston lineup as of now is here. This is Tucker. Minter stays in for this lefty-lefty matchup. Tucker down 0-1.
Tucker has the unique no batting gloves, along with Carpenter, who's with the Yankees now, and there's others, but he's that long swing that he tries to keep in the zone. And we already mentioned his combination of power and speed.
He's gone after a couple of off-speed deliveries to start. 0-2. Has extended his hit streak to now 13 games with the infield single in the 4th. Both teams with 1 run on a solo home run. Both teams with 3 hits. That's it tonight. 0-2 to Tucker. And that's exactly why Minter is still in the game. He gets Tucker on 3 pitches, a couple of them tailing away. And that'll do it for Minter, who goes 4 up and 4 down. And they'll go back to the right-handers in the Atlanta bullpen with Alex Bregman due up next. Tied at 1 in the 9th. To Dublin, where Ramir Johnson leads Nebraska against Northwestern. It's the Aer Lingus College Football Classic next Saturday at noon Eastern on Fox.
Next Saturday?
It's already here, baby. Wow. Week 0, as it's known. We'll have it for you. Raisel Iglesias needed a change of scenery. He struggled in Los Angeles with the Angels. He has been very sharp since coming over on August the 2nd. He'll deal with Alex Bregman and start him off with a strike.
Well, against right-handers, it's primarily going to be fastball slider. He does have a changeup, but against right-handers, it's almost split between the fastball and slider usage.
Fastball there low. They had to give up Jesse Chavez and, more importantly, Tucker Davidson, who was a young burgeoning pitcher in the system, to get Iglesias here. He pours in a strike to get ahead of Bregman. There is the excellent Ryan Presley. Bregman hugs the line, but it's just foul. Stays at 1-2. Man, that is some strong pitching performances littered throughout this game against 2 hot offenses.
Yeah, there really hasn't been many mistakes. I mean, sometimes you get away with mistakes.
we haven't even talked about it much because the offense just hasn't been a story. The Astros on Thursday scored 21 runs and hit 25 hits in Chicago in the series finale. Just 3 runs, 10 hits in this series so far. 3-2 though on Bregman.
But see, he's relentless right here. You know, some guys in the stand in the box, they got a radar gun in their eyes. They know what fastballs they can hit and not. And some guys have no comprehension of the strike zone. Not the case here. You just saw him disciplined and not swinging away.
He stays alive here. Just chops one foul. And again, Yordan Alvarez not in the lineup tonight. That would drastically shift the tenor of this Houston lineup if he were in the lineup.
No doubt. That's a presence. I mean, that's David Ortiz-like presence.
He's had that type of season. Ooh, inside on Bregman. He'll reach the Hardaway. That's the first man to reach for Houston against the Atlanta bullpen. The first base runner since the Bregman single back in the 6th.
These hurt. It's a changeup, but nonetheless, it's hit on the part of the wrist that does not have any meat to it. And lucky it's a changeup, but it's still a 90-mile-an-hour changeup.
Sure is. Bregman's got the mitt. He'll put that on over that right hand, or left hand, I guess. That right hand suffered the brunt of that one. Still smarting over there as he stands next to Omar Lopez.
That mitt is for sliding. That new generational device for guys who are sliding into second base. They put their hand down. Prevent any more injuries.
Here's Mancini.
He's been Mancini has been either guessing wrong most of the night, or he is in a funk not being able to see the pitch.
Yeah, he really scuffled against Strider tonight, trying to pick the ball up. You called it out a couple times, and he's behind 0-2 yet again. This is the 9th swing of the night for Mancini. He has yet to make contact on 8 of them. There's the one fly out. That's it. 1-2. Go ahead, run at first in Bregman. 1 out in the 9th. And Mancini evens the count. 2-2 the count. Two guys that were both acquired at the deadline. Mancini coming to the American League West. Iglesias escaping it to go to the National League. 2-2 pitch. Way outside. I mean, way out there. And Mancini with a rough night, his 3rd strikeout.
Yeah, I'd like to say this was a great pitch, but it really wasn't a great pitch. Now, it ends up being one because he swung at it, but that is just being committed and deciding almost you're going to swing, and that was nowhere close. Good thing about baseball, bad thing about baseball, you can reset and go get him tomorrow.
Yep.
Right? Atone or stay hot.
See if Vasquez gets going. He's 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts tonight. Hard hit ball back up the middle into center field. Bregman takes a turn, but Harris gets to it quickly, holding Bregman at second. A single for Vasquez, his first hit of the game. And just the 4th for Houston tonight. Go ahead, run in scoring position.
Well, this is a short, compact stroke. And see, that's what I was talking about Vasquez. I thought he'd have a decent chance against Strider. Just not trying to do too much. Pass the baton on to the next guy. 2 out Lightning here with the game tied in the 9th inning.
Now Bregman's only the third Astro to touch second base tonight. Pena, the solo home run, did it in the 5th. Later in that inning, back-to-back walks allowed McCormick to reach second base, and now Bregman is at second with Vasquez at first.
Remember, we said he struggles with pitches down, ball up in the zone he can do damage with. So look for a lot of changeups and pitches down to him.
Back to the 5th inning.
Here was the home run. Power against power here. Fastball up, hits it to right field, and it carries.
Big cut. 1-1.
See, some guys can make the adjustment. And those are veteran hitters who have the ability from pitch to pitch to recognize what a pitcher's doing. And then sometimes young players can't. So don't deviate if it's a pitcher until he's proven otherwise as a hitter.
Close but low. 2-1. On the ground to short. Should do it. The flip from Swanson to Grissom. To the bottom of the 9th we go. The middle of the Atlanta order, starting with Olson, will lead it off in a 1-1 game.
The third base coach. I want you to watch this. It seems elementary here, but this ground ball with 2 outs. Watch how he looks it in his glove and he goes through the ball. Ron Washington does this with every infielder and every day, a drill that is so unique, and it's why the defenders on the left side and of course the right side are so good. It's amazing to watch. It seems simple, and that little play, I know it wasn't a perfect example, they don't take for granted. They go through with their glove, and it's an incredible drill that Ron Washington does every day.
One of the absolute best coaches in all of baseball. If you told me that he deserved a managerial spot once again, I'd believe you. Yeah. And he does that with everybody. Remember the All-Star game?
Yeah.
Pete Alonso, a division rival, is sitting there working, and Wash is working with Pete Alonso, showing him some tips and tricks working at first base. Here's one of the best back end of the bullpen guys in baseball, Ryan Presley, dealing with a familiar foe in Matt Olson. 1-1 game, bottom of the 9th inning.
Well, everything that Presley does, the ball cuts, moves, and changes direction. I don't think he can throw a pitch straight.
Big cut, nothing in 2, and that is right around the velocity that you're going to see. You might see it tick up to maybe 94 at times, but he's not going to overpower you necessarily.
No, little movement off the barrel of the bat. That's what he wants to do, and you can see why. Matt Olson's not the only guy that's going to have trouble off of Presley.
Check swing from Olson. Quick appeal down to Vic Carapazza. 1-2 the count.
What I love about the way that he pitches, everything's cutting, but then he'll throw that big breaking ball off that. And you can see while it's so intense, the hitter intends to go chase that cutter, and it's an off-speed pitch breaking ball, and he can't normally hold up.
He's in like middle of the pack in terms of velocity. He is at the upper echelon of both fastball and breaking ball spin. Like he really moves those balls, those pitches. And high and away, going a little higher in the velocity at 96. Presley has had some excellent stretches for Houston this year. He's had 24 saves, obviously a non-save spot right now. He's trying to keep this game where it's at and send it to the 10th. Trying to go through the middle of the Atlanta order. A 2-2 to Olson. Breaking ball, and he just got a piece. There it was that Smoltz was talking about.
And it's late. Starts out, it's not one of those that just pops up and then breaks down. It kind of starts on that plane, that knuckle curve type breaking ball where creates such downward spin.
2-2 again to Olson. Is fouled at the plate. Boy, that got a piece of Vasquez.
That got him really good. I mean, catching, what What a tough job. You got to sit in that position all day and then take.
He's getting peppered back there.
Yeah. I gave a lot of my buddies grief when they were catching me, just because I didn't want them to know how hard of a position it was. I said, hey, you're just a tool of suggestion. We're the ones throwing the pitch. But the reality is, catchers make a huge difference to a pitching staff.
Of course. Well, you had a couple of great ones in your days, Eddie and Javi.
Yeah. And Brian McCann.
And Brian McCann as well.
Good buddy Greg Olson in Minnesota. 1991.
Another 2-2 to Matt Olson. Lifted in the air to left. Over is McCormick towards the corner. It is caught right near the wall. A hot shot the opposite way, but it's out number 1 in the 9th.
Well, that one was a little flatter, and even though he got it the other way, we talked about the strength of Olson. Now, as good as that spin can be, when that spin is not tight and moving, it's actually a tremendous recipe for backspinning off the bat for homers.
The same way we think about power versus power, how fastballs generate some power on a swing. Same deal with spin.
No doubt,
on
when
spin.
it's not spinning.
Yep.
Sliders go farther than any pitch, I'm convinced. They call it cement mixing. It's just spinning in the middle of the plate versus breaking.
Here's William Contreras trying to do what his brother did earlier today for the Cubs. Wilson walked off the Brewers. William trying to walk off the Astros tonight. At the bottom of the zone. Well placed at 97 by Presley. He's ramping it up a little bit tonight.
It just holds the plane.
Off the end of the bat. Into shallow right. Tucker charging on. 2 away. That'll bring up Eddie Rosario. Three times he's faced Presley. 3 times he has fanned.
And I would say a majority of those are going to be on the breaking ball. Just guessing without knowing, but that's the hole that Eddie has. He's got the same swing. He's looking for a breaking ball that hangs over the middle of the plate.
There it was. Right on cue.
A lot of movement in his swing, but when he's on and he's seeing the ball like he did last year for about a month, he could golf that for a home run last year.
On the ground, Pena, the shortstop in the shift, has it, and fitting for a game that has been so excellently pitched tonight is headed to extra innings. 8, 9, and 1. The 1 is Altuve, due up for the Astros in the 10th. Last man to make an out in the 9th was Jeremy Pena for the Astros, so he'll slot up at second base as the go-ahead run as the left-hander Dylan Lee, who made his first career major league start in the World Series last year against these Astros, will step in. Good strikeout numbers, often goes more than 1 inning if you need him to give you some length. He'll face 8, 9, and 1. McCormick leads it off with Pena at second and the corners creeping in. And a strike to start.
He's been pretty good, and here's where you got to have a total different psyche when you're coming into the extra innings game. Look, everyone wants to come in and not give up a run, but the reality of the new rules, which I love and a lot of people don't like, but that's neither here or there, just give up the 1 because your team has the same opportunity in the bottom half. So it's a total flip of strategy.
You're not the first person, first analyst, first fan I've heard that has said that. The added steps that you have to mentally go through to play with that runner already on second and nobody out has added a lot to these extra inning games. They have made them shorter just because offense is more likely to come. In the dirt, good stop by Contreras. He kept it just in front of him long enough to prevent any movement from Pena from second.
Yeah, this is a really good stop. He spiked that breaking ball. I mean, as relievers, you're so conditioned with runners on to not let them score. And so this is no fault of your own. That's just the way it is. There's a runner on second when you enter the game. So you just got to get 3 outs before they score 2 runs.
Hard hit through the left side. Pena had to wait to see if there was any opportunity for a defender to get to it. He'll take the bag to third, and it's a single for McCormick to begin the frame.
And see, the reason I say that has been following some of these playoff games. You can see a 3 and 4 and 5 run inning real quickly because you get frustrated with, oh shoot, they're about to score, forgetting that your team's going to be 1 swing away from winning the game if you only give up 1 run. So that's the difference.
Well, it's also flipped the home road split in extra innings as well. It's a lot more even in this format. It used to be the home team had a major advantage with a clean inning. Here's Myers in the 9th spot. He has had some long at bats tonight, in particular the 8th inning where he lined out to center field. A 12 pitch at bat.
And the only place he doesn't want to hit it is to third base, because that's the one that will prevent the run from scoring. He can hit it in double play and they're going to score a run.
He's going to show bunt. Crashing from first is Olsen. Want to know the count on Myers.
I couldn't tell you how many times praying as a player in scenarios like this to hit into a double play. And they were like, what are you talking about? That's 2 outs. I said, I don't care that runner from third scores. Right. And then you find yourself not getting that run.
Hard hit to short past Swanson. That'll give the Astros the extra inning lead as Pena comes in and scores the 2nd Houston run of the night. On to second base goes McCormick, and Myers drives in his 14th of the year.
And see, the reason I like this style of playoff baseball, think about what we've had for 9 innings. 9 innings, great pitch game, 1-1, everybody trying to hit a homer. Well, most of the guys trying to hit a homer. Well, what do you think happens in the extra innings in the regular season without this rule? Same thing. And the games go too long. There's no value. 17 innings later, you know, you've gone through your staff, and that's why I think this rule has been one of the best rules to not only help the players.
Altuve climbs in and fouls it.
But prevent those marathon games where
you run your staff ragged. Your bullpen is decimated by the end of the weekend. Altuve has shown bunt a couple of times tonight, including to start off this AB. 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. Tipped, and it's 0-2. These two teams have been excellent in 1-run games this year. Games that go tight, games down to the wire, games where you have to rely on your bullpen or rely on a big hit late. These two teams have excelled this year. Spiked and stopped by Contreras.
Contreras doing a nice job. Gives your pitcher all the confidence in the world.
Especially with a staff like this that has such snap on their breaking pitches. 1-2. Altuve goes down swinging, an 0 for 5 night with 3 strikeouts for Altuve. And there's one down in the 10th. That is the 14th Atlanta strikeout from their staff.
Breaking ball on the outside part of the plate. He had already committed, pulled every part of his body trying to pull that pitch, and then the outside part of the plate, you're not going to pull that.
Now 29 strikeouts in nearly 19 innings of work in this series by Atlanta pitching, the #1 strikeout staff in baseball. Here's Gurriel at the top of the zone for a strike.
Gurriel is doing his thing. There's nobody better. Oh, maybe LeMahieu going the other way as a right-hander, even on an inside pitch, serving it to the right field.
That's how you win a batting title at age 37 a year ago. That's what Gurriel did. 319 last season. Trying to get hot at a good time. He has still produced extra base hits at a good rate. 1-1 delivery. Foul back a little late. 1-2.
And see, when he's right, he doesn't miss that pitch. You know, mechanically, every hitter goes through a funk. Timing's not great, but when he's on his game, that pitch does not get fouled off.
On the ground towards third. It's a fair ball past Riley. Off the sidewall. McCormick will score. Myers into third, and Yuli Gurriel delivers to extend the Astros lead in the 10th. Right on cue, an extra base hit, his 34th double.
Off the shoe tops and just inside the line. I mean, that is better hitting right there. You don't want to ever tip your hat to the hitter, but you made the pitch you needed to make, and he just got the best of it.
Top 7 in the majors in doubles this season. That one an RBI double to make it a 2-run Houston lead. Still one away for Kyle Tucker. Struggled in the lefty-lefty matchup in the 9th. This time he makes contact, hits it to second. Grissom comes home. The tag applied in time by Contreras. They get Myers for a key second out.
And again, the reason that's so huge in the psychology of, I know pitcher's bummed that he gave up 2 runs. They're going to start the bottom half of the inning with the tying run at the plate if they continue to keep it right here. Here's the other hard part. First and second, 2 outs. Technically, there's still a base open facing Bregman.
Now,
if it was second and third, he'd be on first base.
He'd be on first base right now. Does the strike to start this at bat now change the complexion of how you approach Bregman?
I mean, it's just a weird scenario because there is a base open, right? And a guy on deck that has been struggling. So you just can't let Bregman break this game open.
Well, quickly, 0-2. I should correct myself. It was Swanson on that fielder's choice. 6-2 it goes on the play.
I mean, that's the stuff that always. I mean, I hear you, but it was really a second baseman that made the play.
Yeah. Good old shift. Trying to finish off Bregman. Dylan Lee coming on here in the 10th. Just got a piece, fouled it back. 0-2 still on Bregman. Will be Grissom, Harris, and Grossman. 7, 8, 9 in the Atlanta order due up. And Hector Neris loosening up in the Houston bullpen. Looking for a potential save. No swing. 1-2 the count.
I know Lee's paying a lot of attention to the runner on second. Watch how late. He never picks up home plate before he delivers the pitch. Now he knows where he wants to throw it right now, but he stays there the entire time and then goes and catches the plate. I mean, that's late. And you know, when you got 2 strikes on the hitter, the most important thing you could do is get that hitter out, even if those runners try to steal.
Right.
So picking up the plate late can be a problem if you find yourself just waiting too long looking at the runner.
Right now it's Gurriel leading off second, Tucker at first, and in the dirt to Bregman to even the count. Pena was the automatic runner to start the inning at second. A base hit by McCormick. RBI single by Jake Myers to make it 2-1. Altuve struck out. RBI double by Gurriel. The fielder's choice by Tucker, with Swanson throwing out Myers at home plate for the second out. Now a 2-2 coming to Bregman, who fouls it back. Lead to Bregman. Got him. That'll retire the side, but 2 runs across for Houston. The tying run will be at the plate for Atlanta. The kids are coming up. Grissom and Harris, then Grossman. 7-8-9 for Atlanta's last chance. Gurriel drove home McCormick to extend it and set up a save situation for Hector Neris, who has 86 career saves. And Neris, after Presley went scoreless in 1-2-3 in the 9th, Neris will come on seeking his 3rd save of the year. Eddie Rosario made the last out in the 9th for Atlanta. He would be the automatic runner. The pinch runner with speed is Guillermo Heredia. And Vaughn Grissom, responsible for the lone Atlanta run, will take ball 1 to start the bottom of the 10th. A solo shot back in the 5th, which gave Atlanta a tying run at 1 apiece.
And to Neris, that runner at second means nothing.
It's the guy at the plate that matters.
3 outs, even if that run scores.
Punched on the ground softly to third for Bregman. That'll keep Heredia at second, and there's 1 down to the 10th. That'll be Harris. The Phillies have beaten the Mets in game 2 of that doubleheader, so those 2 teams split their twin bill today. So the lead is back down to 3.5 for the Mets over the Braves in the National League East. Harris takes ball 1. Updated standings in the NL East for you. Athletics beat the Mariners 4-3 in extra innings tonight. And again, the lead for Houston now 11 games in the AL West. In the air to right, racing over Tucker. That's going to get to the gap and 1 hop the wall to score Heredia. Michael Harris has an RBI double, and he's the tying run in scoring position in the 10th for Atlanta.
Split finger, hanger, and just a simple approach. Ball jumps off his bat now, just like that, tying run at second base.
So many times in these last couple of weeks, during this 11-game run has Harris and Grissom been directly involved in victories for Atlanta. He's now the tying run. Here's Grossman. Foul back.
That was a very good first pitch to hit right there. As we show those standings, I mean, there's no doubt these two teams are headed to the playoffs, but the journey is always hard in the playoffs. But it's a little easier for the Astros in the American League than it's going to be for the Braves in the National League.
The parity on the National League side just seems to be a little wider. Mets and the Dodgers, number 2 and 1 respectively right now in the National League. Remember, this year an expanded playoff, 2 wild card series between the last division winner and the last wild card, and then the 2 middle wild cards, best of 3. And the top 2 division winners get a bye to the division series. 1-2 on Grossman.
Split finger, if it starts middle, is going to be unhittable because it drops down. If it starts high, it's going to be hittable. See how that ball just dives away. And that's why that pitch is so difficult to pick up for hitters.
One and two. Just off the outside edge.
That was a great take.
Yep.
I mean, that. Unless there's a line drive double play, Acuna is going to come up in this inning.
He's on deck. A 2-2 to Grossman. Pulled to the right side and through. Here comes Harris, and Robbie Grossman has tied this game in the 10th.
I'm telling you, it's total different psychology in the extra innings, and this was just really good hitting. And now the Braves are back in business with a chance to win it. First and second, nobody out, and really Lee did a nice job to kind of manage that from blowing that inning open for the Astros, and now they're here.
And that play by Swanson to get the put out at home plate, key as well to prevent an extra run for Houston. A winning run at first and Grossman for Atlanta. Here's Acuna.
You know, I know we're never going to do it, but I wanted to see an exercise in spring training. What would happen if every inning started with a runner on second, right? Would the strategy change?
Sure.
Would the philosophy change? I mean, we saw great pitching, dominated game 1-1, and now here in the 10th, just because there was a man on second, nobody out, each team has scored 2 runs. And electricity back here in the home park.
And this is the perfect example of what you were just talking about. This game tonight. First one to Acuna is inside. He's hit 1 walk-off home run in his career. That was last year against the Mets. For both teams tonight, the bottoms of the order have been very important to them, and the Atlanta bottom third in particular. Big cut, 1-1. On the ground foul. Those two have been key, Grissom and Harris, helping to produce all 3 runs for Atlanta in this game. Testing the bat, maybe.
Yep.
When it got inside on Acuna, it felt like there was a crack in it or something. Back in at a ball and 2 strikes. Nearest to Acuna, and time was called right before the release. Acuna keeps tapping the ground with that bat, so I just wonder if maybe he felt like there was something wrong with it after that foul ball.
Well, this is pretty late. Pitchers usually don't like it, but at least he didn't throw a ball and chuck it somewhere.
Have it sail on you. Bull Durham style. One-two. Acuna waves through. Neris with a clutch K for the second out of the 10th.
Watch the movement on this pitch. Again, that split finger normally goes down and in. This thing kind of sailed left.
Because it does not have the spin of a slider or a curveball,
Right.
that breaking ball. It kind of floated away from Acuna there. Now here's Swanson. Goes after the first pitch, sends it to center. Myers is there. On to the 11th we go on a Saturday night in Atlanta. A 1-1 game to extras. Both teams scored twice in the 10th. And the bottom half of the Atlanta order scored both runs in their half of the inning. Michael Harris and Robbie Grossman with RBIs to tie this game at 3 and send it to the 11th for Jackson Stevens, who has put up 39 strikeouts in 29 appearances. Really good start. He's been rough around the edges as of late. Some big chunks of runs scoring against him, but he comes into a tie game with Alex Bregman, the automatic runner at second in the 11th.
Versus right-handed hitters, fastball, curveball is pretty much his combination. He has an occasional slider. I just know that Trey Mancini would like to connect. Gonna swing and miss game.
He'll take a strike. That was the 21st pitch that Mancini has seen tonight. He has swung 11 times and has made contact once. Makes contact here and breaks his bat, but that's going to move the runner over to third as Riley makes the play to retire Mancini. Bregman takes third base.
Yeah, great base running by Bregman. Right away knew that that ball was hit to the position he plays. Based on where Riley was, there was nothing he could do with it. And a runner in scoring position at third now with a fly ball that can get you in.
Now that draws the Atlanta infield in as well. Here's Vasquez, who had a single in the 9th, was left stranded.
Pretty good in this situation is Vasquez.
Vasquez will turn 32 years old tomorrow. Originally from Puerto Rico. 9th round pick of the Red Sox in 2008. 2 pitches up and in, 2-0 the count.
So many things can happen when the infield's in. Pressure on the defense on a ground ball, kind of the jam shot, base hit. So strategy. And what it also brings in is if you think, okay, all right, man on third, if I don't like the way the at bat's going, I'll walk them. Another runner on base, set up the double play, but you set up the inning to be even bigger.
The 2-1. Waved on and missed. 2-2.
Fastball up in the zone.
Ryan Stanek loosening up yet again. Getting ready for the bottom of the 11th. Two-two delivery. Outside, 3-2. 42,893 were in attendance at its peak tonight. Many of them are still here, and many of them were hoping for strike three. Top 4 in baseball in attendance. We have reached the top of the hour in Atlanta. Adam Amin, John Smoltz, Ken Rosenthal, the wonderful women and men of our Fox Sports crew at Truist Park in Atlanta, Georgia tonight. A matchup of two teams that met in the World Series a year ago. And the Braves and the Astros. Braves took the opener 6-2 last night. A tight one in the 11th tonight. A payoff pitch to Vasquez. And a breaking ball dives out of the zone. Contreras dove to save it. And it's a walk issued by Stevens, and it's runners at the corners for Houston.
Well, right pitch selection, just didn't get it close enough. It's going to surprise him with that breaking ball after throwing a fastball up. And now they have to make a decision. Middle infielders are going to play back a little bit for the double play ball. Possibly, if it's hit hard, they could come home if they want it.
And Olsen has to hold the runner in Vasquez at first. Riley playing a little bit behind the bag and off the line at third. And Pena goes after the first offering. This was a matchup of two outstanding young starters, Spencer Strider for Atlanta and Christian Javier for Houston. Both went 6 innings. Both allowed a combined 5 hits. Both allowed 1 solo home run. And they combined for 17 strikeouts. Nothing in 2 on Pena, who got it started in the top of the 5th with a solo shot. Vaughn Grissom tied it in the bottom of the 5th with a solo home run of his own. It was 1-1 all the way to the 10th. Astros scored twice in the top of the inning. Atlanta countered twice in the bottom of the inning. And here we've arrived at the 11th between these two venerable managers, Snitker and Baker, and they're 2 excellent teams. 0-2 to Pena. Chopper off the plate. This could score the run. Riley charging in, bare hands and throws. Gets the play at first base for the second out. But the run comes home in Bregman, and the Astros take a 4-3 lead here in the 11th.
And that's what contact does. I was just getting ready to say it. Whatever he can do to put the ball in play and create pressure. And this is not going to show up in the box score at all. But if the Houston Astros go on to win, that play right there could be the very difference. 0-2, and he put it in play.
Well, Pena has been directly responsible for 3 of the 4 runs tonight. And now you got another insurance run in scoring position in Vasquez for McCormick. A good pitch, tight, but just off the plate. That's a good take by McCormick. Late on the fastball, 1-1.
I really think, you know, I've said this a bunch, and I know now it's a little more difficult with the high velocity. But I think if you took result out of the equation and there were runners on base and less than 2 outs and you never had to get a hit, ever, but all you had to do was make contact, I will guarantee you your run production has to go up.
Yeah.
Even if you tap it back to the pitcher, he could throw it bad. You know, you've seen all kinds of crazy things. So when I talked to hitters around the league, I said, hey, could you go the entire year in those situations if you never got a hit? Could you never strike out? And surprisingly, a lot of those guys would say, no, I don't think I could. And I'm like, really? If you just choked up and you just put it in play knowing you don't have to get a hit? But that's not the style we're in. So the teams would rather have the kind of 3-run homer, obvious swings.
McCormick goes down swinging. Stevens gets out of it, but the unearned run, the automatic runner, and Bregman comes around to score. On to the bottom of the 11th with the Astros in front, and Austin Riley will lead things off for Atlanta. Ground out to bring home Bregman and give Houston yet another extra inning lead. What a luxury you have if you're Dusty Baker. With the #1 bullpen in all of baseball, you can turn to Ryan Stanek, who's been so reliable, one of the absolute best relievers in baseball this year, and you can deploy him in the bottom of the 11th going up against one of the toughest parts of the order for Atlanta.
Yeah. Well, same scenario.
Yep. Tying run is in scoring position. The automatic runner is Swanson. Austin Riley is 0 for 4, hit into an inning-ending double play in the 8th. Stanek misses down and away to start. The top 5 hitters in this vaunted Atlanta offense, #3 in Major League Baseball in scoring, does not have a hit. They have 2 walks, and William Contreras reached on an error. That's it tonight. But the tying run is on base, and Riley is the winning run at the plate for the Braves. 2-0.
Well, Stanek has more of a split finger than he does the forkball of Maris. Slider is probably his second most used pitch other than his fastball. And Riley in a good situation here, 2-0, trying to pick one out, maybe drive the ball to right center, if nothing else, get the runner over.
Big cut, 2-1.
That swing wasn't anything other than let's end the game. There's the split finger fastball.
Check swing on a pitch in the dirt. Appeal to first, no swing. High leverage count in favor of Riley at 3 balls and a strike.
Long stride and really close. Of course, when you're a pitcher, you think they go every single time.
To divide it up for Stanek, if he threw 5 pitches, 3 of them would be 4-seam fastballs, 1 would be a splitter, and 1 would be the slider. That's the pitch mix that Smoltz was talking about. 3-1 to Riley. Is tapped foul. It's full.
The way they were pitching Riley early in the game may have gotten him into pool mode because they were really pounding him in. And it looks like he's in that kind of pull mode right now. I've been watching Swanson and Altuve, and Swanson can get an even bigger lead. And that secondary lead is going to be so important if the ball's hit and touches outfield grass.
Stays alive. Payoff pitch is ball 4. 2 on, nobody out, and the winning run is aboard for Atlanta.
This is such a good late breaking split. I mean, it was so good. I think it fools Riley, and he's like, I can't hit it, so take the chance. And it's called ball 4.
Now it's Matt Olson. Hit it hard but lined out in the 9th. That was against Presley. Javier went 6, allowing just a run. Abreu pitched the scoreless 7th. Montero got out of a jam in the 8th. Presley a scoreless 9th. Neris gave up the 2 runs in the 10th, which tied the game. Astros have regained the lead. Atlanta's got 2 aboard with nobody out. Check swing, roller to the left side. Nobody's there. Swanson's going to come around to score and tie the game. And Olson's going to end up at second after all of that.
I'm telling you, I know the shift works. I don't have to have somebody tweet at me what the data says. Well, you can't tweet at me anyways because I don't have a Twitter account.
Sure.
But that's the scary situation right there. Excuse me, little check swing. And that, for people who sit at home, go, why can't you do that every single time? That's the nightmare on the shift, but not for the Braves.
Shift giveth, shift taketh away as well.
Very well said, by the way. That could have gone the wrong way.
That could have went a lot of ways, buddy. Very slowly is the only way to say that. But you also talked about this earlier. Put the ball in play, make contact, and see what happens. Either force the defense to make a play or take advantage of their positioning. And Matt Olson will happily take that to tie the game. And now the winning run is Austin Riley at third base, with Contreras coming up and Rosario on deck. Or beg your pardon, Heredia was scheduled to be on deck. Now this is Contreras' spot in the 5-hole, and it'll be Travis d'Arnaud, who went 1 for 3 with a double last night, to pinch hit to try to win this game. First base was open, and sure enough, they end up putting him at first base to load him up for d'Arnaud. Couple of grand slams in his career. He's had a couple of walk-offs in his career, in his days with Tampa Bay. Good stop behind the plate by Vasquez. That saved the game potentially.
Yeah, sure did. Now the spike split, or actually spike slider, catches him. At least that slider was going back towards Vasquez. Now you got the infield drawn in, but you got the outfielders all to their arm strength depth, meaning they're in a position where they think that if a fly ball's hit, they have enough arm strength to get the ball to home plate before the tag up runner.
Bouncing ball right side, and Travis d'Arnaud comes off the bench for a comeback Braves win against the Astros.
This extra innings, for those people who don't like it, change their mind, because there's a lot more action. We're on second.
We had two runs through 9 innings, and we end up with 7 runs in the final 2 innings of this ball game in what was a back and forth thriller, ended off the bench by Travis d'Arnaud.
Yeah, and it ended with 2 exit velocities that couldn't add up to Pena's exit velocity. But that's the beauty of this game. Hit them where they're not, get it in play, put pressure on the defense. These are 2 great teams. Could very well meet again, who knows, but at least for tomorrow, the Braves have a chance to end this unbelievable 7 games against the Mets and Houston Astros.
The Braves have now won 11 of their last 12, a couple of weeks after dropping 4 of 5 against their division rival. And they're able to gain a half a game in the National League East race. What a game tonight. Braves win it in 11. Travis d'Arnaud, cold off the bench, wins it. We'll wrap things up on the other side of this break. d'Arnaud earns the interview with Ken Rosenthal.